Hi, everybody, and welcome to North America Play Day number 4, day number 2 of Super Week. My name is Parker Interrobang Mackay, and as usual, I am joined by Michael Kickstar Stockley. And you're probably wondering, Super Week, what is that? And if this is the first time you're tuning in this week, we did have a match last night, and let's take a look at what Super Week lays ahead for us over the next 5 days, if you include today, but 4 days at the conclusion.
Yeah, so here you have it, 6 days in total. It's going to be a jam-packed full of action week for you here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second day of the North American play days that we will be having during this week, and then we'll have tomorrow one Latin American play day, the day after another Latin American play day, and then two European play days the next 2 days after that. So each and every one of the days in this week we'll have a well, 6 of the days in this week will have a Pro League match for you to watch. So plenty of Rainbow Six Pro League, and I think that's better for all of us.
It was great. Last night's matches were a furious contest between Continuum squaring off against Infamy, and then you saw Flipside taking on, why am I forgetting the name of the team? Era. That is right.
Yes. And we have 2 more matches for you, 4 more teams for you here today. Let's take a look at Group A, though, which is the matches we saw yesterday specifically. It's weird, you know, having so many packed together. But yesterday, it was Infamy versus Continuum and Era versus Flipside Tactics. Continuum did take away a 2-0 versus Infamy. I think that surprised a lot of people. Lots of guys were expecting that to go at least to the 3rd map, but Continuum seeming very, very strong. And then Era a 2 over Flipside. That was also a bit of a surprise, I think.
Absolutely. I didn't honestly expect when this season started to see Flipside go out so quickly, especially without even taking a single map. And now you've got Flipside having to fend for their spot in Pro League in relegations, which is something no team ever wants to wind up in a position to do. But of course, with just the way the Pro League works, there's always going to be 2 Pro League teams to do that. Unfortunate set of circumstances for Flipside, but their regular season is over. Continuum is going to be the one to watch, but we still have that Infamy versus Era decider match coming up next week.
Yeah, let's take a look at Group B, which is going to be the group that we'll be looking at for today. We did have, obviously, earlier Rogue versus World Best Gaming. That was a 2-0 in favor of Rogue. Pretty decisive match. Most Wanted versus Elevate, a 2-1. A very close match that took a lot of people off guard that Most Wanted managed to win that. But now, today, we are going to have Rogue versus Most Wanted, which I think a lot of people are looking forward to, as well as World Best Gaming versus Elevate, which in my opinion is the sort of match where Elevate, they need to come and say, all right, we're still in this. We can do what we can do here. Whereas World Best Gaming, they have a chance now to prove themselves as a team who's fresh to the Pro League. So this is going to be World Best Gaming versus Elevate. I think it's going to be a really exciting match.
I agree. I think both of them are going to be able to captivate the audiences that watch. WBG and Elevate, I think, is going to be the most spectacular of the 2 matches. Not that I want to pick a winner,
right?
But I think both these teams have something to prove. When you're brand new to the Pro League, there is, of course, a bit of jitters when you come in. I think that was evident by some of the plays that World Best Gaming had, and I think we'll be able to see them shake it off. Here's what we're going to be doing tonight, though. First game on the docket is Most Wanted versus Rogue. That is your winner's match. It's coming up in just a couple minutes. And then at the conclusion of that matchup, we'll have World Best Gaming versus Elevate. And I think we can both say that these are going to be a heck of a showing. Now, speaking of Most Wanted and Rogue, no Most Wanted interview for you today. However, King George, a face that is very familiar to those of you that watch any form of Rainbow Six, is ready for an interview. I guess the de facto captain of Rogue. We've had him on here before, so we'll get his thoughts on the upcoming matchup against Most Wanted, as his interview should be ready for us in just a moment or 2.
Oh, he'll be ready in just a second here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be moving on to that in just a bit, but that matchup is going to be pretty incredible. I think that while Rogue is being really dominant right now, there's still a lot of potential for Most Wanted, considering especially they went up against Elevate and managed to win that in I think, spectacular fashion. It's anyone's game in all reality.
I think the Most Wanted Elevate matchup last week was a lot closer than everybody anticipated. The community poll showed that. I think if you spoke to most of the pros and most of the people involved in the Rainbow Six community, they would say the same thing. And I expect that Most Wanted will be bringing the heat to Rogue after Rogue had a pretty easy 2-0 victory. I think it was 10-1 or 10-2, if I remember correctly.
It was pretty definitive.
Decisive, I think, was the word that we used at the start of the broadcast, and that's absolutely correct. So with that said, we will go to King George for our first interview today, and the only one for the first matchup. George, how are you doing?
How's it going, guys?
Good to see you. We're doing very well. We're excited for Super Week, and hopefully you've been tuned in to yesterday's broadcast and all subsequent broadcasts as well. Now, I'm going to start off by saying that even though you had a convincing win and you had a great roster last week, there are always things that even in victory a team can look upon and figure out what they need to improve. And of course, we don't want you to delve into specifics here because we know that there are closely held secrets on your team. But looking at your performance last week against WBG, what are the things that you noticed that you can improve upon and something that we can focus on in this upcoming matchup?
Really, honestly, it just comes down to a team-to-team thing. Like for WBG, sure, there's stuff we could have probably fixed to play WBG specifically, but for Most Wanted, we have completely different stuff ready for them. So I guess it's kind of something, like you said, closely held secret, right?
Right.
So.
And speaking of closely held secrets, once again, this was just a follow-up question. I'm glad you touched upon it, but with the way that Most Wanted looked against Elevate, and we said just a couple minutes before you came on live here for your interview, that they looked a lot stronger than I think people expected. Once again, no specifics, but what's something that you're going to be changing about your strategy with your own team structure to counteract the more aggressive play of Most Wanted and the way that they were able in some rounds to almost consume the attackers of Elevate?
The biggest thing is, I guess, removing their roam game. Their roam game was what won them. In my opinion, at least, their roam game and late round where they had people like coming in on flanks and stuff like that, where they would maybe roam people, and even after the roamers were cleared, they would have another person flanking around. So just having flanks watched properly, I think, will be one of the most important things for today.
Wonderful. And using your experience in the community and the fact that you've been here and you've been to LAN before, if you win this match, you put yourself in a very good position to advance to LAN, and we'll see you at the end of November if you're able to succeed in this match and all subsequent matches. For people that watch this broadcast that don't really have this experience, can you just very briefly discuss the challenges that teams face preparing for such big matches, knowing that there's a lot on the line?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously that you have to have a team of people that could do well under pressure. That's the most important thing, but a lot of that is alleviated if you are properly prepared. If you watch their VODs, if you know how normally when the map bans come up, I don't think we've ever had a match where we were like surprised at what the maps were going to be. So generally we have, based on the maps that we know we're going to play, we're very well prepared for them, which alleviates a lot of the stress and pressure of playing. So
wonderful. And that's good advice for anybody as well. And something that a lot of teams that don't make it to this level realize that mental pressure as well as the nerves can play a big role. Well, thank you so much for your time, George. Best of luck today in your match. And before we say goodbye, anything you want to say to the community or your fans?
Just good luck to Most Wanted and the other teams, Elevate and WBG. And just like a kind of a side note thing, Rogue is based in Las Vegas. And I just want to say, like, our hearts go out to everybody in Las Vegas with the tragedy that happened there the other day. And everybody from Rogue is fine. Like, we've had a lot of people asking us about that. And just our hearts go out to them, and hopefully have a good match today.
Thank you so much, George.
Yep.
And our thoughts go out to Las Vegas as well. Now we'll jump right into the roster for Rogue. No changes, but let's take a look at the 5 gentlemen who are going to be representing them in our matchup against Most Wanted.
Avian, Slashhug, King George, Eclipse, and Brian. Of course, a very refined roster here for Rogue. You've got Avian, who's a bit of a clutch player. Eclipse, who's very much a frags guy. You know, he goes in, he gets the kills. He's the entry fragger for the team. You've got Brian, who's a support player, along with King George, also a support player, a bit of the center of the team. And then Slashhug, who's just the sort of guy who will do extremely random stuff for his team. Very unpredictable, I think, and it works out great for him. He's a nice little extra factor that Rogue has in there going for them.
They've got a lot of opportunities for site players as well as roamers, and of course we saw just how all-consuming Slash and Eclipse were on the last set of matches, and I would imagine that if they get cooled off by Most Wanted, that's not going to bode well in favor of Rogue. Now, as we said, no interview for Most Wanted, unfortunately, but we'll throw their roster up on the screen, and no changes for them either.
Yeah, for Most Wanted, you have King Leo, Trippin, Thinking Nade, Redeemer, and Chala. King Leo, a very aggressive player. Trippin, a bit of an impact fragger. Thinking Nade, very consistent. And I think the team, everybody on his team really knows that he is going to be doing what he needs to do at all times. So very predictable, but in a good way in bringing structure for the team. Redeemer, the newest player to the roster, I believe, who is I think he's made a good showing of his first real experience so far in Pro League, especially, I mean, obviously, considering they beat Elevate. And then Chala, also the last player on the roster, is going to be the bit of a playmaker / roamer for their squad. So yeah, no, this is a really well-rounded squad overall for Most Wanted, and they've had a good show of it so far, beating Elevate on Skyscraper and Border. Or Skyscraper, they lost on Border, I believe, and then it was Oregon.
They won on Oregon.
Yeah, there it was.
Chala was able to just take over that entire first map. 16 frags on Skyscraper.
It was ridiculous.
He just rained down from above all over them, and that final 1v3 clutch to not only win them the round, but also Skyscraper was a Herculean effort on his part. But then you saw Redeemer was able to clutch it out as well in games 2 and 3. And of course, you've got the guys like Trippin, Thinking, and King Leo, which will be so consistent. But I'd imagine that the two big things for them is, let's look at Chala and see if he does Chala things, and let's see what Redeemer can do on site and playing as a support player, because his Ying was crucial on Oregon to allowing them the opportunity to beat Elevate.
Yeah, but let's take a look at the ban phase for this match that we're going to be having in just a minute. Again, Most Wanted versus Rogue is what we're focused on here, and see what maps they opted to bring us to, or they're going to opt to bring us to.
No attacker or defender pick rates just yet, because we're still in the midst of Super Week. We should have that back, hopefully.
A little bit of chaos.
Next Monday. It's an interesting week. It's a super week.
It is definitely a super week.
It is a super week.
That's a way to define it.
So when we look at maps here, one of the biggest things that Rogue focused on was the fact that they said they really haven't been surprised by the way that maps have come out. And of course, when you are a team as Rogue with the experience they have, they're going to be comfortable on almost every single map. Continuum's going to have the same thing. Penta's going to have that same thing. I'm sure Font and BRK are going to have that in Latin America too. And essentially what that does is it gives you confidence to know that no matter where you go or where you play, you'll be ready for it. But I wonder how Rogue is going to adapt to this, because I have a feeling Most Wanted has probably done their homework to try and cycle out Rogue's best maps, and Border and Chalet go right away. So it's going to be... And we're going to get at least one interesting matchup that we don't necessarily see all the time, with two of the most hotly contested maps off the board. Then Cafe and Coastline will join thereafter.
Yeah, no big surprises so far in the ban phase. Of course, you're right. Border is having hit off the board. I think it's going to be a little bit different from what we're used to seeing. But that's obviously a targeted ban for Most Wanted. It's pretty clear cut. Chalet being banned out by Rogue is interesting. They've been banning Rogue a lot, actually, in recent history. Not like in this season specifically, but in recent history in general. So I think this is the sort of map that used to be in the repertoire, but just kind of fell out. Coastline and Clubhouse getting themselves kicked out of there. No surprise by Rogue at all, because Coastline, a map that most teams don't really like. Clubhouse, a map that, again, has kind of fallen out of favor in the meta. Consulate being banned from Most Wanted, that's got to be a counter pick to Rogue's play. So Bank, Oregon, and Skyscraper are going to be our three maps here for this match. And let's take a look at who picks what. I'm not entirely surprised by these maps. I'm a little bit taken aback by the Skyscraper. I would have expected maybe something different than that, like a Cafe, for example. But it all stands to reason. Bank is a map that also doesn't see a lot of play in the North American region per se. It's more prominent in Latin America.
Right.
However, having it here really doesn't surprise me to any great extent, especially after the Jackal buff. He's much more useful on that map, and I think that makes the map as a whole more viable for the attackers. I think one of the big problems with Bank for a lot of teams, the reason they didn't like to play it as much is because they're like, oh, we have to clear out this huge map of all of the roamers before we can start actually putting pressure onto the bomb sites. And it was a big arduous task. And now that you have Jackal, who is much better at fulfilling or streamlining that, it's not as difficult.
Right. And for me, the big focus as well, as much as I'd love to see Bank, because we don't see it very much, Skyscraper goes first and foremost. Most Wanted's win rate, of course, 100%. I have to wonder if Rogue rewatched that footage against Elevate and realized that a big part of that Skyscraper was simply Chala's play. And if they can isolate him, the whole rest of the team wasn't able to carry as hard as they needed to. Of course, they went to overtime, even with that extraordinary performance from Most Wanted. If they think, hey, they're weak, if we can isolate Chala, we have a very good chance.
It's interesting, yeah. To reference the Elevate match Elevate versus Most Wanted, the fact that Rogue let Skyscraper get through the ban phase is incredibly telling of what you just said. It's basically Rogue obviously has they know exactly what they're going to be dealing with from Most Wanted. They know what they have to counter. They know what they're going to have to strat into, and the big question then is, will Most Wanted be obviously aware of that? Are they going to be like, okay, yeah, we have to completely change up our strategy here, or will it just be a carryover from the last time they played on it, which wasn't so long ago? So I don't know. It's a big risk for Most Wanted to bring it to Skyscraper again, even if it's a map that they're really familiar with. Rogue, of course, going to be picking Oregon as our second map of this series, and then it's going to be Bank for the final map in the best of 3. Let's take a look at the community vote to see what you guys thought about this matchup, to see who you guys thought was going to win. It is going to be 27% in favor of Most Wanted versus Rogue 73%. Now, of course, for those of you who have been wondering where do I actually vote to voice my opinion on this matchup, it's going to be at ESL Rainbow 6 on Twitter. These polls are posted a couple hours before the matches start, so you can go ahead and hop on there for the next day, or the next play days. Let's go ahead and hop right into the match. Right off of that, though, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be starting on Skyscraper. It is going to be Most Wanted on defense of the top floor, and Rogue on attack.
I really enjoy the changes to the community vote as well. It's nice to actually have this data available. I'm surprised with as much of a blowout as it was for Rogue, given Most Wanted's performance against Elevate. You think that they would learn, because almost nobody gave Most Wanted a chance, and they managed to defeat Elevate. I
mean, obviously, this is a more it's more slanted towards Most Wanted, this community vote, since ones we've seen in the past. For example, I think Most Wanted had, what was it, 14, 16%?
Somewhere in that range.
Against Elevate, they had 14 to 60%, something like that. So coming off of their win, they've almost doubled their community presence, and I think that's very impressive. Their play that they displayed in that Elevate match was, well, exactly that, impressive. So Rogue is obviously a team, though, that is, I would say, probably one of the community favorites. It's right up there with Continuum. I'd say Rogue and Continuum are probably like the top 2 community favorite teams in North America. So the fact that Rogue actually forfeited 28% of that vote to Most Wanted, to me, is actually a surprise. While I think that Most Wanted has the best chance of any team in this group to beat Rogue before they get to the playoffs, or well, before they possibly get to the playoffs, I do think that I do think that it was really impressive by Most Wanted to make their way up there in the presence.
Right, when you have somebody as prominent as King George, not just as a streamer, but also a face of the...
Well, just the team in general.
Absolutely, and everybody else. It's not even just King George, it's obviously he has a big spotlight on himself. And you can see Rogue has already managed to storm into Geisha Room, and Brian is going to try to give them a sightline down that hall between the 2 objective sites. And some heavy droning as the roam game for Most Wanted is somewhat restrained. Avian's just going to come right in and pick off Trippin. Unbelievable how he's just able to do that. And a very quick plant. We're going to see a plant go down within the first 90 seconds. Redeemer picks off Slash Hug, doing better on smoke than we've seen before. And the diffuser down right now. Most Wanted just allowing them to be bullied by Rogue. And it's just all going to come down to Rogue trying to hold off any push from Most Wanted onto the site. You can see Brian is going to try to use that long sightline. King Leo gets a frag on Avian. And from below, or sorry, from through that window, Redeemer takes out Eclipse. Brian gets a frag, as does King George. And now it's just up to the 2v2 of Redeemer and Chala. And Chala looks like he might have almost next to no health and or be downed.
He just got picked up. But there's only a couple seconds left here. They don't really have enough time. The defenders have to start pressuring the diffuser. As Redeemer runs against Brian, he's going to be taken out, and King George ready for that run out from Chala. It doesn't really matter. The diffuser didn't have enough time anyway, but it was a nice try by Most Wanted to recover that. It was, I think, a 4v4 at the time of the diffuse plant, and they almost managed to bring it back. It just was not enough pressure. But the underlying thing for that round is obviously the fact that they simply didn't have any presence on the bomb site. They had a Pulse playing underneath in an attempt to use C4 to deny the actual diffuse plan at all, and he was completely unsuccessful. I like that, a very aggressive play from Rogue.
They read that properly and saw that Trippin was isolated in that room by himself inside a karaoke. All they did was run in, and the fact that Avian was able to win that fight so cleanly against Trippin too is something that you can't allow to happen at this level, and Rogue basically just forced their way right in. A good start by Redeemer there, you can see, along with King Leo, the only 2 members of Most Wanted to get on the board. One thing that I noted about Redeemer in our matches last week was that he wasn't very successful on smoke on this map. You saw that he started to switch to Echo on the other 2 that we played on. And on both Border and Oregon, his Echo play was a lot tighter than his smoke play, and that was, I think, a big difference to help Most Wanted stay competitive. Of course, you need roster depth when you have one player carrying the way, eventually they'll cool off. You need the rest to pick up that slack. We saw Redeemer did just that, and I'm going to look out to see if he decides to play Echo at all on Skyscraper, because I don't think he did last week.
Yeah, but now as Rogue starts to set themselves up on this top floor, we are seeing no real deviation here from the common bomb site. I kind of like this. I appreciate it from both teams that they want to stick to their guns and go to the very typical. We've seen in the past on Skyscraper specifically a lot of, all right, we're going to go to the barbecue kitchen, or we're going to go over to the other side of the building in general on the east side. And here you're just seeing your clean-cut, normal strategy. Most Wanted getting very aggressive here in through the front door early on. Trippin kind of exposing himself a little bit. You can see here that Most Wanted, obviously, they just want to clear out the east side of the building so they don't have to worry about any roamers coming from behind as they start their actual push towards the bomb site. And this is a very smart play from Most Wanted. It's reminiscent of the Oregon west side take, where you clear out that west side because you know the roamers can't rotate through the bottom floor because there is no bottom floor on the westmost side of Oregon. And it's basically the same thing here. As soon as you cut off front door and delivery, then you just have to focus on terrace. And it only takes one person to do the two bottom lanes.
King Leo aware that at least one member of Rogue, we know two though, sit inside of Drum, disoriented from the Yokai. They're going to have to battle through that Pulse and that Jaeger in order to take control. Chala's going to run right in, and King George goes down. That's the Bandit. So one of their roamers off, and then the two of Eclipse, like I said in Slash, not too far off site, can get back. You'll see Eclipse is now going to rotate and head down. Chala sees him, but somehow misses his shots, and Eclipse is going to get taken out as Chala gets kill number 2 on the round. And we can see Skyscraper just Chala things.
Yeah, Chala really showing up for his team here, and that's extremely important considering the Most Wanted attack has been somewhat stalled out here by Rogue, and it's been a good play so far. You can also see that Slashug is primed and ready inside of Strip to drop down as soon as the defuse plant starts to go down. But as King Leo starts to open up underneath, Brian is going to actually be taken out. Something that people tend to forget is that when you're opening up those vertical angles as an attacker, it is a two-way deal. So Brian, with some good play, will try to even out that man count for his team. But Most Wanted does have control over those north stairs, and that's a very important position to be utilized by the attackers. Avian gonna get another kill onto Redeemer, and it's looking better and better for Rogue with only 30 seconds left.
Chala tries to dual battle with Brian through that window, thinking Nate's gonna pick him apart from behind. And now it's Slash and Avian offsite. The Yokai is going to be the difference maker here, but right now Avian not on it. We'll try to get Trippin. Trippin's gonna get one now onto Avian, and it's just Slashug offsite. He's gonna get pushed by Thinking Nate. He'll get him down, but the call is gonna go out as to where he is. Chala's gonna push up and get his 3rd kill on the round, and Slash goes down to give us a 1-1 game. They didn't even need to get that diffuser again, as the Pulse was the last man up. And Skyscraper looks to be just as competitive as it was against Elevate last week.
Yeah, this is really cool to see. We're seeing some really ragtag, I would describe it as, strategy from both teams. And it seems to be that once one of the attacking teams establishes control over that main hallway, they start to really pivot on the defenders who are anchored heavy in the bomb site. You saw there Most Wanted as they moved in through the main hallway in that 2v2, I believe it was. It was really easy to just take the positions that they knew the last two defenders would be at, pre-fire them, and win their fights. It wasn't that difficult. Slashug did end up rotating pretty hard off of Geisha, but ultimately in that round he didn't accomplish much of anything as the Pulse. You can see he was trying to play inside of Geisha to rotate downstairs later if the fast B plant started to come out so he could C4 from below, or even the fast A plant. But Most Wanted was aware of that clearly, and they simply prioritized killing rather than the objective, which is a good calculated play. Normally it's a little bit, you don't want to obviously encourage getting the kills instead of playing the objective, but in this instance it definitely works out.
Rogue showing that you can run in and play the objective quite well and still get the frags in round number 1, too. And one thing that I think that wasn't mentioned in our broadcast last week and needs to be, I think, said this time around is last week was the very first time that King Leo had played Buck in any form of match or scrim. He literally flexed onto Buck at the start of Skyscraper. Of course, we joked about how he got that kill on himself on the grenade, and it was funny to see that. But he's not familiar with the operator at all, and I think we're going to see him start to learn and grow as it goes on, of course, if Most Wanted continues. But for Rogue, I don't see any operators that are really too outside of the norm for what they would usually play. For them, it's just going to be staying the course.
And on that note of being new to things, Most Wanted, this isn't their first season in Pro League, it's their second. But they are very, that is actually very fresh by Pro League standards. So they're a pretty new team overall, especially with some of the changes they've made recently. And they have had an amazing showing just right out the gate here. With Chala and Redeemer, I think were the ones that were added to their roster in this latest season. Going up against teams such as Elevate and Rogue, they're already putting up a heck of a fight against Rogue, and it's honestly, it's just straight impressive to see this level of play from such a fresh team. Nice C4.
Just misses his Nitro Cell on King George there. Some good repelling play. And the leadoff kill in round number 3 is going to go to Eclipse. He takes Redeemer down as Trip and eliminates Eclipse. So that is a refrag from above. Brian picks off the Muta King Leo, and Chala gets Avian. So we are at a 3v3 as Brian makes it a 3v2 as he kicks out Trippin'. And now Chala is once again a man on a mission from above. He's going to need to try to use that sight line that Brian opened up for the second round in a row. You can see Rogue does have control of Karaoke. They're going to need to try to get that diffuser down as the smokes from Slash's Jackal go off. And it's just Thinking Nade and Chala left as the diffuser will finally go down.
Love that predetermined plant spot as Chala attempts to deny the defuse. He is going to get the kill on the Slash Jug. King George, though, got the run out from Thinking Nade, and now it's all Chala against the world. Brian and King George ready to reciprocate on that kill. But they don't have the diffuser control, and that's the most important thing here. If Chala can maintain control of the B bomb site window, he pretty much has this. And as the last 2 Rogue players, they push in through the Geisha, they're bottlenecking themselves in this situation. And obviously King George going to read into that, get onto the B window. Has found the right position. King George pressing into B, going to get hit by that Ella. He needs to get the defuse plant, though, with only 22 seconds. He's got to start applying the pressure. He's going to go for the flashbang and the rush. Will he get the kill, though? Sees the shoulder of Chala, and that's all it takes. King George with an excellent play there, definitely locking out that round. And that, I think, is the right call. If Rogue had decided in that situation, okay, let's grab the diffuser, cover the plant, I think that would have been the incorrect call because Chala, being the player that he is going to be, I think, putting himself in a great position to retake that bomb site, get the kill on the diffuse planter. And obviously the Thatcher, if he had missed the shot on the Ella rotating through the hallway, he would have had no way to refrag his teammate and would have put it into a 1v1. And again, Chala wins those.
He does. He was holed up inside of T-Room. Really not a lot of opportunity for him to do, and all they really had to do was just wait out that time. Take a look at Rogue at the moment, though. Brian top fragging. Brian was very quiet in the first 2 matches last week. Wasn't really needed. Played that support role. A lot of the anchor opportunities he had when he was on site. WBG just, be honest, they didn't really get to the site to need Brian to get that frag potential. So we didn't see a whole lot from him, but we know his capabilities from when he played with Excellence last season. He was far and away one of their highest frag getters, and now you can see that when the need arises on Rogue, he can shoulder that load too. I really liked his play, and especially the patience. He trusted King George to get that kill. He was able to open up that wall on the south side of T-Room. And what that did was that didn't allow Chala to push up onto the other doorway to contest Brian, and he basically had to wait, and then you saw the very well-timed flashbang from George, and he ran in. Yeah, it was a great read by them.
Yeah, it was an absolutely great read, specifically also by King George. I mean, we're talking about Brian. Both of them played that situation perfectly. And now, it is going to be Rogue with the lead. Now, we were all expecting this, I think. But Most Wanted, they've got that chance to bring it back here as now they're attacking onto, I believe that's the bottom bomb site here. Or no, they're going back upstairs, excuse me. That's the top bomb site still from Rogue. We haven't seen anything else from either of these teams yet. Of course, it has been primarily attacker-sided for both of these teams. Entirely attacker-sided, in fact. Neither one has really put up much of a fight on that defense yet.
Both of them have been exceptionally aggressive as well on both attack and defense. Extremely aggro, just running into each other and always taking their fights. And we're going to see first frag goes to Trippin on Eclipse, who doesn't try to play his angle. Slashug is going to take down Redeemer, and 4v4. This is something that we've seen a lot of as well. Immediate refrags from both teams.
Yeah, but Rogue maintaining control of drum for this long is a little bit abnormal. Usually the defenders will fall off the drum angle as soon as they get challenged. And it's because of things like that. Chala positioning himself perfectly downstairs, waiting for the rotation from Slashug into the main stairs, and getting the kill that is oh so necessary. Now Rogue is the ones that are the ones at a disadvantage because they lingered for so long inside of drum. and they also have lost downstairs control. Now this is important as well. The diffuser has been put down by the attackers on the east side of the building, and that's going to mean at least 20 seconds for one of the attackers to rotate around, pick that up, and start bringing it to the bomb site. And there it is. But that does waste a lot of time. It's something to note, sort of thing that Most Wanted is going to probably need to work on in the future.
You will see they will get pushed out of the site as well by that remote gas grenade, and they've got to push in the next 10 to 15 seconds. Brian's SMG-11 is going to make quick work of the buck of King Leo, and now we have a 3v3. Trippin gets a kill onto Brian. And now it's 3v2 in favor of Most Wanted, and this is really when they need to start their push in earnest. King George is cycled out, Avian just rushes out, and a great shot from the Supernova before he gets taken up by Chalice. So it's just King George left in a 1v2, and he's trapped inside of Geisha. You can see Trippin does have the diffuser, and we're just going to wait. Chalice going to see him and take him out, and a great play. Skyscraper is absolutely his match, and it's 2-2 heading into round number 5.
Can we see the scoreboard real quick, Marsu? I want to see where Chala is right now on the scoreboard, because he has had some...
I think he is 6 or 7.
He has a very impressive play so far in this match. And it is actually kind of surprising, to be honest, that he's going to be coming off of his last performance, going into this one now, and it's just the same thing. It's Chala, Chala, Chala. He's been putting in a lot of work for Most Wanted. But overall, just on that round, it was great control over specifically Terrace and Drum. Now, that's one thing I want to emphasize is Terrace and Drum. They saw that Rogue was placing a lot of emphasis on that, and there it is. So you can see, ladies and gentlemen,
he's halfway to 16
kills. He has almost half of his team's kills, obviously -3. But he's been putting in a ton of work for his team. Anyway, point here is, on that last round, Most Wanted, they saw from the last time they attacked the top 4. Rogue playing a tremendous amount of emphasis on the Drum. They figured to themselves this round, all right, we're going to take control of the Terrace early on. We're still going to clear out the east side, but then we're going to bring Chala up underneath the main stairs because that's the primary rotation factor for the defenders inside of Rome. And then it was a simple pinch. And then once they had that man advantage, they also had downstairs control. It was a pretty easy attack from there on.
No real contest for him on those stairs as well to be able to push up, and that was when King George had no opportunity to rotate because of just simply the way that they put up their reinforcements. And one thing that I think is worth touching upon is that obviously people are going to give praise and commendation to the way that Chala is playing. He deserves it. But there's a way that a team can play around a strong fragger like that. We see it with Shaiko with E-Genius.
Oh, yeah.
It allows them an opportunity to build their composition around that player to get those frags. So yes, Chala is incredible on this map. But you can't just give him thanks alone. It goes to all the rest.
I mean, just to cite one specific example to reinforce your argument is that Chala on that last attack round, he was the guy who's going to be doing the pincering on the guys or the defenders at Drum. He's the guy who came up from the main stairs and was waiting for those kills to walk into him. And that, yeah, okay, it's good that he fulfilled his job and his role, but, you know, also it was kind of, that's his job is to get those kills.
Right.
It could have been he was the one pushing from Terrace, just trying to apply the pressure and force the rotation from the defenders, but it wasn't. Now, on that note, Most Wanted this round are not applying, well, they haven't been, but this round they also are not applying any pressure to Drum, which means Rogue is going to have early control over the Drum side of things. They do have information gathering on the Drum with that Valkyrie camera, but that's not really going to give them much presence there. As meanwhile, Rogue, they are putting a lot of pressure onto all the different windows of this bomb site. They have already downed one defender inside of the BE bomb site. That's the Mira, Trippin. It's a very good early pressure to have is getting him down. I don't think he's going to be recovered from Most Wanted. They're probably just going to let him bleed out, which is unfortunate for Most Wanted, but also good for Rogue. Thinking Nade has been spotted out here. Slashhug waiting for his opportunity. Eclipse going to be aggressing on the angle, and he will get the pre-fire. Nice headshot there onto Thinking Nade. Meanwhile, Brian with a kill onto Trippin. It's already looking great for Rogue in this round. The refrag from Chala, though, this is, again, Chala showing up for his team. It's oh so necessary. That's the main problem, though, that he actually gets those kills.
I'm curious to know if they're ignoring him some rounds to allow them to take out the supporting cast, as that's what it seemed like it was. Unfortunately, Thinking Nade was just in a really rough spot there. There was almost no way for him to get out. You can see the way that Slashug was above. Even if he did get the kill, it would have been a trade. Now Redeemer's going to get Avian, and we're going to see Chala come in. He's going to miss King George. He's going to finally get him, but he's all out of ammo. Brian, what an incredible double kill from Chala onto King George and Brian. And now Eclipse takes out King Leo. It's Eclipse versus Chala. He's going to pre-fire through that wall, and only 30 seconds left. Chala comes around the corner, and Eclipse cools him off as Rogue stretches their lead to 1. It's 3-2.
An excellent recovery there from Eclipse. Nice try from Chala, though. Excellent, or really great pistol kill on the attacker pushing in through that main A window. Ultimately, though, the man advantage being so askew, there wasn't much potential for a recovery there for Most Wanted. While Chala is certainly trying, it's just not enough for him to be the one getting all the kills. And, you know, of course, it's just the one guy, but, I mean, he's the guy getting the frags right now in every situation, even on defense where the roles are a little bit more loose. I want to see, or I would love to see Most Wanted not losing so many people early on in these rounds. 11 frags in 5 rounds. Now on the 6th, it's that 3-2 lead for Rogue, though, and it's not really going to matter.
27 frags over a game and a half of Skyscraper.
Very impressive.
That's absurd.
Yep.
That is patently absurd.
Yep. It really, truly is. But will he be able to continue that, and will it be enough for his team? As they, despite it, again, it's still 3-2 in favor of the opposite team, Rogue, who has been putting in a lot of excellent teamwork. We'll just talk about them for a second since they're the ones winning right now. Have been putting in a lot of excellent teamwork in this map to get themselves that lead. And I really love their level of coordination. It is honestly impressive to see. I hope it continues for them. We'll see how that goes. They are going to be actually roaming on the east side of things this time, which is a little bit different for both teams. Now, we've seen much more aggressive play on the defensive side for Rogue in this map, which, by the way, hang on, we'll just talk about the attackers real quick. Nobody's won a defense yet. It's just not happening for either team. Anyway, we've seen very aggressive defense roams from Rogue, but not quite to this extent. They are going to be playing towards delivery, which is where you just saw Eclipse. They're going to be playing on the far east side of the building, which we haven't seen at all yet. It's been mostly just aggression in drum. And that's like, it's interesting to me because what happened to Rogue to make them lose their last defense of this floor was they got pincered inside of drum, right? And now their answer isn't to get more passive, it's to get more aggressive, to roam more heavily, which to me seems like counterintuitive. I hope it works out for them, though. It's a really interesting take on how to counter-strat Most Wanted.
And I like that we've seen 5 rounds on the same site, but every single round, despite the fact that attackers have won it, have played out remarkably different.
Right.
Too.
No, that is a really good point.
So it shows you that just because you lose a site doesn't mean that you say, okay, well, we're never going to win this site. Take heed of that and realize there's multiple ways to play this site. Watch this level of play and learn from it. Eclipse is going to get a kill onto Trim. Now Slashug is trying to take out the Ying of Redeemer, but can't do it. He's holed up inside a work office, and if Redeemer slow peeks him, that's going to be it for him. Just like that, Slashug gets a kill on Redeemer, and Rogue now breathing a little bit easier as they're up 5-3. And King Leo waiting for that Ella to push out. He's going to frag and then push from another direction. And Slash is going to come out, but he's going to get taken down by King Leo. I don't know if that's a kill that King Leo should have gotten, but he gets it nonetheless. And now we see that it is a 4v3 in favor of Rogue with just over a minute left to play. A hole from above, Chala will survey and can almost see the foot of Eclipse, but gets spotted through that hole. Now he's going to wait for the push-up as Eclipse gets a couple shots on him, and he'll have to move. Just under a minute to go.
Loading mag.
It's time for Most Wanted to begin their ascent to the site. And Chala's going to put himself in position by taking control of those stairs that you can see Eclipse on. The first smoke is going to go down. They still have that Echo as well. I like, once again, Rogue is running the dual smoke Echo combination. And the Supernova to Avian, I think, speaks to how strong it is now. 60 changes to the shotgun, and especially the buff to the Supernova as well. Another smoke is now going to go out. Chala is going to have to start his push through this window in the next 5 to 10 seconds as another smoke goes. King Leo doesn't kill himself with the nade, but Brian this time around. Excellent job by him. And now 3-3. Thinking Nade is going to be able to get the kill on Eclipse, and Chala is in. But there is the diffuser in his arms. He's going to start the plant through that reinforced wall. King George goes for King Leo, and he gets it. The better king right now. Chala getting the diffuse off. They're going to find out very quickly. King George is going to go to rotate through. Chala gets the kill. That's his 12th. And Avian's going to try to get him. He will. Down but not out. And oh boy, Thinking nade bleeding out as well. Avian is going to get the final cleanup kill, pad his stats, get the diffuser quite easily, and we will head to match point in favor of Rogue, 4-2.
And also worth talking about, the very first defense win there of this entire map. And it, again, puts it on the match point. That's very impressive there for Rogue. Although a little bit, the main thing there is they broke the mold, right? And the way that they broke the mold, like you said, mixing things up. I love what they did there. Going more aggressive instead of passive, which is what most teams would have opted to do, because already, arguably, Rogue was extremely aggressive onto the drum side of things. They were doing about a 50% control of that top floor, which is a lot. Usually teams will just forfeit that, which is what we've seen Most Wanted do. But they're like, no. We're going to go ahead and we're going to extend ourselves over the entire map, not only the top floor in its entirety, but also downstairs as well. Some great play from Eclipse downstairs, and after that, he rotated back up before getting eliminated and getting pinched by the attacker. So I really love that play on the roam game from Rogue. This communication and coordination, as you can see, the scoreboard from Rogue specifically is much more balanced as opposed to what we have on Most Wanted now. 12 kills from Chala, and then 4-3 for everybody else. I mean, obviously, yes, of course, Chala's being the guy being put in the position to get those kills. But he's also just a guy right now who's fulfilling his role perfectly, not messing up on his specific job, and then picking up other people's jobs. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not like you don't want to put too much praise on one guy, but the truth is that he is overextending himself, and that's what I'm seeing here. And unfortunately, what I'm seeing from the rest of the guys from Most Wanted just isn't enough. Now, we are going to actually see a mix-up from Most Wanted. Despite not winning the top floor, they're going to have to go downstairs. Now, what do you think about this change? Do you think this is a smart move, or do you think they should stick with what they know?
Well, I mean, take a look at Most Wanted so far. You've lost every single defense upstairs. You lose this defense, it's game over. So you might as well try if you don't feel particularly comfortable. We saw with Flipside yesterday, even though they weren't holding as badly as some people thought, the reason why they went to Bakery was because they believed that it would give them an opportunity to play better on a site that they hadn't played on yet. I think the same thing is going to happen with Most Wanted here. It's not an unconventional site by any means. This is something that we've seen them defend before, and they've done so successfully. They did so against Elevate successfully. So with your doing this is the opportunity for you to roll the die. If you already know it hasn't been working and you're losing, you got to try something new, because if you just keep repeating the same thing, it's going to be a 5-2 outcome in favor of Rogue, and you're going to head to the second matchup down by 1. I like this for Most Wanted. I also like that Redeemer has swapped off of the smoke to the Echo. I think this is something that will give them a bit more mileage as well.
Something that's really interesting here is they're actually taking notes from the Elevate top floor defense strat, the things they had to deal with when they were going against Elevate, and instead of playing just within this, just within Geisha, they're actually extending themselves over the top floor in its entirety on the west side. So 50% of the top floor is the total. Which is very different. It's, again, it's the complete opposite of what they did last time. And I like this change. I think it's going to benefit them a lot. They're using that same crossfire that Elevate used against them successfully, despite, of course, them losing the map. And it is probably going to be really good for them. Now, as Rogue push in through delivery, going through storage hallway into B, they are going to have to be worried about that top floor control from Geisha. And as the challenge comes on, King Leo will be eliminated by Brian. The defuse plant starts going down. Slashrock with another kill on the cover of the plant. Eclipse with a third on the Chala, all the way up in drum. It's looking great here for Rogue as they forfeit the top floor control and simply push it to the bomb site. Redeemer with the refrag though onto Avian, still having someone upstairs. Tripping's gonna get down. It's all down to Redeemer. Not enough. Rogue simply pushing in through the delivery. That's all it takes, ladies and gentlemen. And that will be map number 1 in favor of Rogue in quite a decisive manner.
Two things that fell apart for Most Wanted in 2 very important rounds was you only had one person really on that site in earnest, and the moment that you lost them, Rogue got in and planted real fast. And I think King George touched on it in the interview, but one of the things he said was fix the issues that the other teams have had with their roam game. And you saw that right here and right now, is that with as good of a roam game as Most Wanted has, they basically realized that their site game's not so strong. Let's just take the site and get right in.
Now let's take a look at the highlights from that map, and I think there were quite a lot from both teams. But on the note of that last round, I completely agree. I think it really comes down to the fact that they saw the roam game and they're like, we'll just not. And again, the interesting thing there is usually a team will say, okay, we're not going to make this push, the push that Rogue made, which is straight through delivery, storage hallway into B. They'll say that we're not going to make this push specifically because we don't want to worry about upstairs control, that geisha control, that drop down. It's so much pressure that the defenders can exert onto the bomb site from above. And Rogue, again, using the fact that it's a two-way angle, and they can just as easily challenge that drop as the defenders can challenge people inside the kitchen, simply waiting for the challenge, because they know it's going to happen. They know it's coming. Love that pistol kill there from Chala.
That was a beautiful setup.
It really was. And I love that read from them, understanding that they don't have to force out geisha control. They could just walk in and challenge from below.
I'm sure a disappointing result for them, but this is the Rogue that we saw against WBG, and a team that is this good can make good and great teams look average. We'll see if Rogue is able to keep it up, as Oregon is going to be game number 2. And for Oregon, we saw that was when Most Wanted really broke the pack against Elevate. If you take a look, I believe on both Border and Skyscraper last week, there was never a point where either Elevate nor Most Wanted had more than a 1 to 2 round lead on each other. It was Oregon where it was blown wide open, and Most Wanted just looked so good. Their Ying play was fantastic. They hunted the roamers of Elevate down with great precision. Of course, there was that one play by Trippin, if you remember, on the shot from Skies. And we're going to see if they're going to be able to do the same thing, because you saw against WBG last week how Slashug and Eclipse did on their roam game. It was very different from Elevate's roam game. Elevate's roam game was not as in-your-face as Rogue's was. This is a lot more upfront, and it provides that dangerous front line to give you a lot of pause when you try to get inside of the building.
The specific thing that I think is going to give Most Wanted an edge, and we're going to be loading into the match in just a second here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's going to be on Oregon. The specific thing that I think is going to give Rogue the edge, actually, in this match is, remember when you talked to King George in the interview and you asked him anything that he's going to be focusing on when you talked about that roam game? That is going to be most emphasized on Oregon. Yes. So let's just hop into the game real quick here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, Oregon, Rogue on attack, Most Wanted on defense. It's going to be starting with that top floor from Most Wanted. And anyway, this is actually the round and the defense that I wanted to talk about from Most Wanted, because Rogue, obviously they watch the VOD. They know what Most Wanted does here. They know that Most Wanted's roam game against Elevate was extremely elusive. They were very much playing loose, trying not to take any unnecessary fights. Oh, and then when they got into those fights, winning them. So I think that there's going to be some really interesting strategies to hunt those roamers down on this bomb site from Rogue, and I think that's going to be their specific primary focus here. Obviously, they kind of told us that a little bit, but I'm excited to see what it is that they have come up with.
And one big change right off the bat for me for Most Wanted is the castle play. I do not recall them relying a lot on a castle last time around.
You're correct, and it could be an indication that they have completely adapted their strategy from when they played against Elevate, which, if that is the case, then Rogue might be in for a surprise here.
Yes. And especially with how suffocating Most Wanted seemed to be. There was just nothing that Elevate could really get going. And when you are able to subdue that duo of Laxing and Skies, which I'm sure we will get to see on full display in our second matchup tonight, but in the meantime, when you're able to subdue that roaming duo the way that they did and contain them, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the site players. For Elevate to put a lot of undue pressure on them, they weren't really able to make anything work. And you can see that Rogue has been able to push into showers and lockers there, get some openings, and begin their assault onto Oregon.
A lot more direct challenge waiting for Rogue here from Most Wanted than we're used to seeing on this roam. This is reminiscent actually of Rogue's defense of the top floor that we were seeing the last time they played against World Best Gaming. So maybe Most Wanted taking a couple notes from Rogue, but whatever the case, they have smoked off the mirror window and they are going to be pushing in here to the kitchen.
They'll put a lot of effort into flushing out that bandit of King Leo. And you can see even everything such as the smoke and the suppressed shots from Glaz as well. It's not going to provide a lot of opportunity for him to get in. First frag's going to go to Eclipse. Of course, this is the map that we saw him get a wonderful ace on last time, and a suppressed shot from Slash will take Trippin down. Now King Leo will fall as well for a double kill from Slash. And there's only 2 left, Chala and Redeemer left on site. This is surgical precision right now from Rogue to pick them apart. Redeemer will see the rotate of Hibana beneath him. And Chala is going to wait to try to tangle with Brian. He'll get a kill, so Most Wanted gets on the board. But from beneath, Eclipse will buck him out of his spot and force them both to hold up and waste, essentially, one of those beauties to try and stop that push onto them up those white stairs into Kid Storms.
So despite Most Wanted actually changing, whoa, another nice shot there from Slashug. Now it's a 1 versus 4. It seems like it's pretty much going to be down to Rogue just playing this smart. It is Chala, though, in a position here. He sees the barrel, but unfortunately does not react to it. The 4th kill from Slashug here. Nice 4K there, ladies and gentlemen, from Slash. Unfortunate that the Buck got the single kill in the denying the ace, but good kill all the same. Anyway, so the strat overall, you could see there, the new stuff from Rogue. Bring that glass to counteract the mirror window inside of the kitchen, and then simply push into the kitchen, establish that downstairs control, and then start to push up. But the thing is, again, it's Most Wanted changing that I think is actually the problem here for them. Because the way that they used to play that kitchen defense, from what I saw for the most part, was just, we'll play in the kitchen until we get pressured, and then we'll leave. We'll just leave. And they didn't do that this time. And I think because of that lack of elusiveness, that lack of just kind of playing loose, allowed Rogue to basically hammer them against the anvil there on that round.
And I liked their coordinated push as well. You saw it yesterday on full display, the way that they could not dislodge Canadian from that mirror, or the dual mirrors technically, as he had one open inside of kitchen. So what did they do this time around? Well, Canadian was able to escape with a kill to, in some cases I believe he got 3 kills hold up on that mirror. Instead of bothering to contest them, they deprived that mirror of its biggest advantage, which is the line of sight into the living room and into the hallway. So of course they smoke it, Eclipse rotates around to the showers. He's able to push in through that bathroom, through that soft wall into the back of kitchen, which now forces King Leo at that mirror to either have to contest the glass or run for cover. He tries to run for cover, can't do it, and they picked 3 of them apart, and Slash's glass was just able to push up and get 2 of those 3 inside of that area, inside of kitchen, and that was it. And the whole thing fell apart from that point. It put too much pressure on Redeemer and Chala, and I think the big thing for Rogue right now is they're letting Chala be the last alive. He's been the last alive 3 or 4 rounds by my count, and that makes it that even if he's going to be able to get his kill, or 12 of them, he's still going to have an army to go against.
Way too much,
and it's just he can't do it.
Yeah. And here you can see from Rogue, their very aggressive roam game over towards Cafeteria is being circumventilated here by Most Wanted, because they're simply going for a armory master bedroom attack instead. And I think that's the smart play, because what we've seen from Rogue on that Cafeteria has honestly been some very impressive play, using Cafeteria, lockers, and kitchen in tandem to try and hold out the attack coming from the small junk tower. So yeah, good call here from Most Wanted. Excellent strategic decision there. Trippin going to get the first frag of this round onto Slashug. That was one of the roamers, I believe, up in attic. No, he was rotating in through kitchen. Interesting there. So good early control over the meeting hall from Most Wanted. A little bit of a missed call. Avian upstairs in the attic might have said when he was prompted to Slashug, oh yeah, meeting hall's clear, simply because he has that vertical control. Because of that, the blind rotation, Slashug got caught off guard, and easy frag there for Trippin. But now, Trippin is not aware of Avian's presence in the attic. So, will Avian be able to linger for longer and get a nice flank later into the round? Redeemer gets another kill onto Avian, and it's already looking really good for Most Wanted.
Excellent job for them so far. Brian moved at the last second right as Chala peeked him. And that could have been an easy frag for Rogue onto the Hibana and Diffuser hold. And one thing, too, with Chala that we saw this time around, as a grenade goes down, and what a play as Trippin also gets a kill on Eclipse. And now it's just King George left, a 1v5, and he is in a lot of trouble. Standing inside a kid's dorms, you can hear those Candelas go off. He'll try to take Thinking Nade down, but the Jackal will win that fight, and Most Wanted keeps it close as we are tied up 1-1. And just to finish my thought, the one thing that we saw last time on this map was that Chala was not their primary fragger on Oregon. He was given the role of diffuser. So it was up to him to do that. Something that they can, of course, switch off of is if they feel it's not particularly working, then you can have him go to that fragging potential and give the diffuser to somebody else. And now we'll head to laundry room and supply room downstairs. An echo from Redeemer, and we'll see. Is King George going to lock in the Ying? Yes, he does.
So, just to quickly tap on this real quick, I have to say, I think that King Leo has been practicing his nades. Like he's definitely been going into custom games by himself and just be like, all right, grenade arcs, grenade arcs,
blowing
grenade
myself
arcs.
up again.
Because he's not going to blow himself up again. Very impressive nade play from King Leo throughout both of these maps, I have to say. Really props to you for that, coming off of a couple mistakes there and turning it into some excellent play in the nade department. That's good. But yeah, no, in general, also from Most Wanted, excellent play overall. I really love that attack strategy, completely avoiding the defense in cafeteria and kitchen, which is, I feel, the defense roam game that a lot of teams just kind of fall into attacking these days. It's just like, oh, they're going to be playing in kitchen, and we need to get the vertical control from below, and that's what you got to do. And I really like that Most Wanted is just like, nah, we're just not going to do that. We're going to go over to the armory and the master bedroom, and we're just going to attack in like normal, because it's a good way to avoid any roamers influencing our round at all. And since Rogue has been putting such an emphasis on that roam game, and they did in that last round, they put, I think, 3 or 4 players on the roam game, it really wasn't that difficult to just take into the bomb site. And they had a great execution there. Now, though, we are somewhere else entirely, defending the basement instead from Most Wanted. And it is going to be an aggressive push from over towards the meeting hall. Whoa, he shot thinking nade. What an angle. We've seen that drone hole used quite a lot of times by multiple players throughout many matches. And honestly, it's interesting to me that anyone can ignore it at this point in time in the Pro League. King George, unfortunately, not thinking of every possible angle. And some really good play there from Thinking Nade. Will put now Most Wanted it. So obviously Eclipse hasn't been practicing his nades. He's going to have to take a note from King Leo, I think, moving forward. But
the King Leo school of frag grenade throws right
maybe
there.
They can,
he's the #1 student.
Yeah, he can communicate to Eclipse after this and can be like, all right, man, let's work on this together.
You got potential.
We got to bring each other up, better each other. But yeah, no, as this round goes forward, Most Wanted still retaining control of that meeting hall. Rogue still focused on a main lobby drop take.
And one of the things, too, to not underscore how great of a frag that was on Thinking Nade, regardless of the operator it was on, that is no Ying for them now. And that's a huge issue when you're trying to get a plan off downstairs with how much this meta has now revolved around that. The Ying is entirely off the board. No Candelas and no smokes available to them. And that is a problem. They still have 2 smokes through glass. You can hear what sounds like them going off as they will hit that hatch. And King Leo from above is going to take out Eclipse. And that is the buck down. And now Trippin is going to be able to blow open that wall. And Slashdown gets a kill onto Chala as Brian gets one on Trippin. It's 3v3 with just under a minute left in round number 3. Thinking Nade gets that. Claymore will now push up. And I don't know if Brian's going to get found out. Redeemer gets a kill on Avi, and that's good fragging potential from the angle. Redeemer a second on the Slash, and now it's just Brian as he takes King Leo down, but Thinking Nade does the unthinkable. Gets Brian holed up inside a classroom, and we see Most Wanted's first lead of the day, 2-1.
Good hold there, and I have to, yeah, I'd like to reinforce that point that you made, is the loss of the Candelas and the smokes early on. Yes, they still had the glass, but that's not as much as they were planning on having in the disruption department. And that specifically didn't cost them the round per se, but it was arguably the most important operator on attack to have off the board early on in that round. Right. If she had been able to use her utility, it could have been a completely different story. But I think the primary reason that Most Wanted won that round is honestly just the roam game. So even despite that disruption loss, it was mostly to do with the fact that Rogue did not have a good enough cover on the meeting hall, and they also didn't have any cover towards kitchen rotation later into the round. And I think that was probably King George's secondary role. So obviously the strategy is, King George, you're going to throw down your smokes when we go in for the push, you're going to throw down your Candelas, and then you're going to rotate over to cover the flank hold and the kitchen rotation specifically. Because he was not available to do that, they didn't appoint anyone else to take up the role, and ended up falling apart from for them from there. But now, Rogue defending the top floor yet again as they were unsuccessful here. Most Wanted got to be feeling very confident attacking onto this bomb site, considering how successful they were last time they were here. And I want to know, is Rogue going to be making the rotation that is also necessary to hold the Armory Master? Because as you can see from Most Wanted spawns, it's pretty obvious. They're doing the same attack strategy. They want to go into Armory and Master. They want to avoid that roam towards the cafeteria and kitchen completely. Definitely the smart play. But there's no read coming out here from Rogue. There's nobody on the east side of the building right now, and I think that's going to be a problem for them moving forward.
Unless, of course, they are aware of that and giving them that opportunity, which is something doable. And we've seen that a couple times where you'll concede almost an entire floor to them and then still be able to take them down from another level. Consulate, Penta versus B-Genius is one example that immediately comes to mind that we saw last week. Penta would repeatedly give that entire first floor Slash Hug now missing a bound, and what a great frag onto Trippin, and that is the anti-roamer down now. How Trippin is able to hunt them out, and they still have not been able to flush Slash out as well.
They're tangling a lot more with the roamers this round than they did in the last attack, and it actually has been working against them. Eclipse going to be put in a position to actually... oh, wow. Eclipse and Slash Hug are getting aggressive onto King Leo. King Leo, though, ready to receive them. And Eclipse not going for the reflag will actually be taken out as he looks at the drone. A double kill for King Leo. That's extremely good pressure onto the roam game. Despite losing Trippin early on, it will be an excellent recovery here for Most Wanted.
And the last roamer, not necessarily a roamer, but just a little off-site. The Bandit of Avian hold up inside a meeting. And now Chala's going to try to flush out. You're going to know where the smoke and the mirror are. It's pretty standard for their position on this site. It's now going to come down to where Avian goes next. And it looks like he'll head towards the tower, but instead now looks to go and press up into Meeting Hall. Redeemer, with that enormous magazine, is going to wait for Avian to peek. They will have to remove the smoke of Brian, a strong player on that mirror window. He will have a big example, and he can see him. He can see him. He can see the top of the visor of Bandit, but wasn't able to get it. And now some pressure from below being applied from King Leo, as Avian is going to be a man under fire. Brian will try to give Avian some support by an excellent smoke to prevent Redeemer from pushing in, and will now guard that one site where Chala is ready to come in and plant the diffuser.
Lay the nest.
He's going to miss it. There's lots of missing these gadgets here today. Another smoke is going to go down onto Chala, and very well timed. And now the Candelas to try and dissuade the Mira and the smoke from pushing out. And we're going to see another Candela go down onto Avian, but he will not be blinded. A good C4 from King George onto Chala. Avian managed to get the frag on Redeemer, and now it is 3v2. Thinking Nate is going to get downed, and Avian and King George take the last two out, and we are tied. Can these teams get any more even than what we're seeing right now?
Great defense there from Rogue. Specifically got to reference the fact that they managed to maintain a crossfire from attic to everywhere else in the bomb sites throughout the entire round. There was not enough pressure applied to Avian inside of that attic early on in the round, and because his position was left not accounted for, he was able to really apply a lot of pressure to that Most Wanted attack, despite the very successful Most Wanted roam clear earlier in the round. Now, this right here, by the way, 2-2, is where Rogue started winning round after round after round on Skyscraper earlier in this series. It was 2-2, then the next round, round 5, 6, and 7, all went in favor of Rogue. So this is where Most Wanted needs to get these rounds and start to break that trend and not let it slip away from them like they did last time. Because if they're unsuccessful there, we're not going to see a third map. And honestly, I don't know about you, but I want to see a third map between these two teams. It has been some excellent play so far.
Especially on Bank.
Yes, on Bank, and because that's a lot of thing. I think Bank is a map that's going to actually give us a lot of factors that we haven't accounted for so far.
Absolutely. There's
going to be a lot of Jackal play. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of Jackal play, which is cool to see every time. Like, for example, Slash Hug on the Glaz play. It's one of those things that's really cool to see, and it's specifically to counter a factor of this map, which is that mirror window inside of Kitchen. You just saw Trippin place. It's exactly to counter that one thing. And I love that Rogue is bringing that out. I think it is a really good direct counter for this for that situation, which is oh so common. And I think it's the sort of thing that's probably going to be utilized by a lot of other teams moving forward. They're going to see this and they're going to go, oh, yeah, that's a good way to handle that. We'll do that.
Oregon definitely seems like the test range or the training grounds for this new meta with all the different operators and holds we're seeing as well.
100%.
And with Bank, the two, just not to step too far off this match, because we are into round number 5 now, as they will push up on King Leo and Kitchen. I like Bank because of the diversity of that. And what a shot from Trippin, and that's the glass down right away. What a shot that was. A great play through the reinforced door, and you have lost your glass. That is going to blunt the momentum. And now Chala is going to get naded. Eclipse not missing that time. A good throw.
So good reciprocation from Eclipse. Very important.
But now you can see that they're able to rotate too. And that's a good idea to be able to push out into that little pantry because they don't have the pressure from the glass through that room. And you can see Eclipse is going to get a grenade off. It's not going to do anything to King Leo, but he is going to be under fire. And he'll Bandit trick on the mirror window to keep it alive. Rogue expending a lot of time and a lot of effort on this hold in particular. And they still really haven't been able to get their way up towards that bomb site. You've got Trippin, you've got Thinking Nade, and you've got King Leo all downstairs. You're putting a lot of faith in Redeemer to be able to hold, and now you've lost one of those roamers as King Leo falls to Brian.
The pressure is mounting here for Most Wanted, but it's mostly to do with the slow, methodical push from Rogue. Despite losing that glass, they can still make it work for them. And that's a very impressive recovery from Rogue, now putting themselves at that man advantage. With 1 minute left, all they have to deal with downstairs is Trippin inside of the kitchen. They're going to push onto him very aggressively, and it's not even necessary for King George to flank around as Brian gets the necessary frag from the front angle. But Thinking Nade, still inside the tower, will actually take out King George while he's not paying attention to that angle. And now, trying to even it out just a little bit, Rogue still has the advantage, but they're going to be bottlenecking themselves, pushing up these wide stairs. We will lose Redeemer inside of the bomb site, and that's the last anger. It's all down to Thinking Nade. Coming up from behind on these white stairs, he's looking for the roam holds, but they don't exist. It's going to be Brian at the top of the white stairs to receive him.
It doesn't look like he's going to see him. No, Brian gets kill number 3 on the round, and Rogue takes the lead again.
Uh-oh. This is exactly what we saw on Skyscraper repeating. And I was honestly hopeful for Most Wanted when they killed the Glaz, the earlier stages of that round. It seemed like a bit of a lucky kill, but also just in general, a very good read there. I believe that was Trippin.
Yes.
But it wasn't enough. They did blunt the momentum. They'd slowed it down, but it just wasn't. It wasn't an all-out killer because there was still the backup smokes from King George as well as the Candelas to provide the disruption that is necessary. And you know what's funny? I remember last time we interviewed King George and he's all like, yeah, no, I feel like Ying is being forced in the meta.
And now he plays her.
It's in the, you know, Rogue makes better use of that new Ying meta, I think, than most other North American teams. You know, so at least he's doing a good job of it. That's the important thing to take away, but it's kind of like, yeah, well, this is what's happening. Maybe he was trying to mislead us and everybody else. I think that was it. It's got to be
We got bamboozled.
Bamboozled again.
We were bamboozled again. But he is using it very, very well, and you could see the big difference maker is that the Ying was able to stay alive right till the very end, and you saw the effectiveness. They didn't even necessarily need it on site. It was applied to flush out the roamers, which is what I think they were trying to do last time around, but Thinking Nade got that very important early frag onto King George and took it all away from him.
Yeah, and also that nade from Eclipse, we harped a little bit on Eclipse's nading earlier in the round.
Before he could do anything.
Yeah, but that if it weren't for that refrag with that nade, I think that it would have been a successful complete stop of the push from Most Wanted. So that was very important that he actually got the man count back and evened out. It does have the mentality a lot of an attack where you lose someone early on that you weren't expecting to lose because they were barely even exposed, and then you manage to even it out. That's super big for the team's morale. Most Wanted, though, they, in this round, have cleared out the west side of the building, pushed all of the roamers to the meeting hall. Very common strat. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. There is, however, going to still be people from Rogue retaining their positions inside a meeting hall. Eclipse looking for the C4, and the King Lua will actually hit it. An excellent C4 there, looped up into the attic. That's also going to create a rotation hole that most Rogue can use later into this round. And as they get their second kill of the round on the Thinking Nade, Most Wanted challenging the wrong angles at the wrong times, and they are putting themselves at the disadvantage. Despite still having plenty of time in this round to execute, they now have lost a lot of utility in their two of their 4 smokes as well, and all of their nades.
And one thing that was a big difference maker between the team that Most Wanted is facing right now in Rogue and last week in Elevate, that was touched upon very briefly before, is how almost passive we saw from Elevate. They played a little bit deep because Most Wanted has a great anti-roam game. They were able to hunt them down, isolate them, and eliminate them.
He got spotted.
And you could see that Avian does get spotted. I don't think he knows he's been found out from above, but he pushes and Redeemer gets the first kill for Most Wanted. You can see some Candelas going off as well. Not really needed as Eclipse gets a refrag onto Chala, and it's just Trippin and Redeemer left. Redeemer with a sliver of health holding onto that diffuser. Slash Hug from below is going to apply some pressure through that open hatch in a meeting hall upwards into Addict. Not aware that Redeemer now sits on the other side, but oh, great impact nade.
Gotta catch them all.
Down goes Redeemer.
Oh,
only
boy.
150 to go, and now Trippin is going to be able to eliminate Eclipse. Gets hit by that concussion mine, and they know roughly where he is. And they need to hold on for 45 seconds. It's just Trippin, the man who has been so proficient at being able to stop the roam game. Slash Hug is going to try to take away that verticality from Trippin, hole him up inside a garage, and it's a tough task as he will try to get out. And Slash Hug looks away at the last second, but they still have strong control over site. Brian rips Trippin apart, and we are at match point. And two things to note for me here. Number one, when Most Wanted was so good at taking out that roam game, they were almost unstoppable on site. I don't think they lost a single site take after they took out Elevate's roamers. But you see Rogue is playing very upfront and challenging them. We saw it with Eclipse, playing inside a meeting hall as strong as he did, and they're taking away the maneuverability that Most Wanted had, and they're making them play their own game, and right now, they're on match point, and this series could be over in the next 3 minutes.
If we're going to reference Elevate, let's talk about the differences between Rogue's and Elevate's roam game. So what we were seeing from Elevate was arguably very similar. They were playing pretty much primarily inside of the meeting hall on the basement defense, which is what Rogue is doing. Differences that I would like to cite, though, are specifically that Elevate played a lot more open. They had the mirror window facing towards kitchen, I believe, as well as the rotation hole in kitchen. Rogue did not have that. They simply had two reinforcements. They cut off the kitchen and didn't think about it. They also didn't reinforce into attic, which allowed that C4 early on from, I think that was Eclipse. But either way, they allowed that C4. It also allowed that rotation later, and that was due to the fact they didn't reinforce that specifically because Avian was playing. He was trying to be cheeky. Didn't work out for him, but it's beside the point, really. It did distract and waste a lot of time. And it's just, I think, there's a lot of like little things, all those different things that I just tallied up, basically that Rogue are doing differently to what Elevate were doing, which was basically Elevate was just opening up a bunch of angles and playing these angles, looking for the fights and challenging. Rogue's not doing that. They're taking indirect fights, they're trying to be sneaky, and it's working great for them. And by the way, this is trend continued here from Rogue from the first map. It's the same exact scoreline. It has actually gone, there has been no there's only been one deviation, excuse me, from the last map, and that was the third round specifically. It was Most Wanted won that third round instead of Rogue. But it's been pretty much the same since then. And I feel like Most Wanted, they can do this. You know,
I think they can come back.
They can pull this off.
We've seen it from them, and they're good on defense as well. That's one thing I don't want to take away from them is their defense hold on this map in particular is no slouch.
The one thing I'm worried about, though, is as you can see here, Rogue is very much focused on taking from the tower and construction, and Most Wanted is entirely prioritizing right now the other side of the map. They have their Echo drone over by the main lobby. They do have King Leo playing in attic, and he is going to get this thermite charge, which will slow down the attack a little bit. But elsewhere, Brian with the headshot onto Thinking Nade. And now it's already looking like this might be the series for Rogue as they are very efficiently and effectively clearing out this roam. As well as they've already pushed their way into box, and Eclipse, right where Trippin's not expecting him, is going to take out Trippin, and he goes for the nade on King Leo, just a little bit off. That's unfortunate, but it could have been there, I think, the end of the round. King Leo is the last linchpin here for Most Wanted to win this round. If he gets a successful flank, I think that's all they can do.
Chala's going to try to do battle with Slash again, shot by shot as he jiggle peeks onto that Blackbeard. You can see it, two so far.
Timing. One
away, and he just misses it. He's going to keep peeking with that Scorpion to try and take him out. Avian's going to push in. Redeemer's going to get a kill to try and lighten the load, and now Chala gets a kill onto Slash. So a joint effort from the two site players. King George, you can see, is getting the diffuser down, and as Chala peeks up, oh, he wins his gunfight against Slash. King George gets hit by the yokai, and they're going to try to pick him apart by the bomb as they spray through that wall. King Leo gets finished off by Brian. Redeemer gets a kill on George, and it's just Brian left as he has to retake the site. He'll shoot away at the diffuser, but is under fire from Chala, and Chala, a huge play. Most Wanted stays alive. What an incredible hold. And wow, you said it yourself. We're not counting them out. They can still come back, and they proved it right there. And now they get to live on and try to take this series to overtime.
Hate to emphasize Chala more than he deserves it, but Chala. Just Chala things.
Just Chala things.
But that was Chala put in the perfect retake position and fulfilling his role to perfectly. He did exactly what he needed to do there. Playing inside of the main lobby drop-down, laundry, as it's called, and instead of actually inside the bomb site, that put him in a position where he is going to, yes, allow the defuse plant, but ultimately he's going to be the guy to swoop in and kill the attackers before they can recuperate, fall back, and hold the diffuser from a far-off angle. And that is, he timed it perfectly. Now, we are going to have Rogue still on match point, still able to lock this out without getting to the overtime or map number 3, but they're going to be defending the top floor now instead of the basement. Now, the reason okay, so Rogue has had mixed success here. What happened the first time, or the first couple times they defended this top floor, was basically they were successful on the first time because the attack from Most Wanted was coming from the cafeteria, I believe it was, and that was where Rogue was ready to receive them. And then it mixed up where Most Wanted went for a Armory Master Take, and that was hopefully successful on the first time Most Wanted try it. Now, after that, Rogue made the change of putting Avian inside of the attic, which you can see is still happening, and Most Wanted didn't have any answer for that. They couldn't get him out of this position. Because of that, the Crossfire stayed alive throughout the entire round, and once Most Wanted started to attack into the bomb site, they couldn't actually get past the Bandit. But this run out here from Rogue, /Hug specifically, is going to put them now in a very good spot as Chala loses his life.
Oh,
That's the Habana as well. That's the hard destruction. Most Wanted has nothing they can use here to attack into the bomb site. That's really bad.
You've lost your diffuser, you've lost the player who was so good last round, and yes, most importantly, you've lost your hard destruction too. That's tough.
I guarantee you that after /Hug got that run out kill onto Chala, everybody on Rogue has got to be patting him on the back going,
oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
Good job, dude. That's it. That's all it is. And there's another one from Eclipse. King Leo getting taken out, a 3v5. It would be very... Most Wanted is hard-pressed to recover in this situation. They can do it. They've shown it before, but I don't think that Rogue is going to give them any opportunities leading forward. Eclipse still roaming downstairs in the basement. I think Avian also inside of the attic. And Eclipse is actually going to be meeting, I believe, the Ash on the main lobby stairs shortly. That's Trippin. Oh, Trippin not trying to challenge it directly, but Redeemer in the meeting hall. It's all going to come down to Eclipse and how aggressive he gets, because it seems like Most Wanted stalling out on this round, waiting for the time to tick away, and that's not what you want to see from an attacking team. They're conscious of Avian playing inside the attic, of course, as he has been playing that position spectacularly and was likely not to change his role. And so they're trying to deal with that, but inadvertently, they're just wasting time. Eclipse going to come up the main lobby stairs and take out Redeemer, now a 2-on-5. I think it's going to be, I mean, it's getting harder and harder for Most Wanted as they continue to get stalled out. Another kill from Eclipse onto Trippin, and now it's all down to thinking Nade. In a 1 versus 5, he has to ace to deny the lockout here from Rogue. As he creeps his way towards the white stairs, looking for anything that Rogue will give him, but no, he gets hit by an Ella, and his position is now known to everyone on Rogue. And the collapse is coming in here, ladies and gentlemen. Eclipse coming from the main lobby. The pressure mounting, thinking Nade getting challenged from above. He's going to start shooting fires up, but nope. It's Eclipse running in through the door of the showers, and that's it. That's all she wrote. Was that a 4K from Eclipse?
It does. I do believe so, because /Hug got the lead-off kill, but then after that, it was all Eclipse. An excellent job from them. And what was a match that looked like it was going to be very close after that last round, momentum completely stolen away from them as /Hug rips Chala apart right at the very beginning. And that was it. Rogue is now going to advance to the winner's match, but Most Wanted now awaits the victor of Elevate versus WBG, and that could be one heck of a rematch should Elevate prevail. If not, then WBG awaits them, and that will be exciting as well.
So Rogue with that swift 2-0. Got to give him props there. Very solid play. Most Wanted, they put up a lot of a fight, or a heck of a fight, but ultimately it just seemed like Rogue was a little bit on a different level. Not so much so that I would say that it's like, oh my gosh, Most Wanted had no chance. In fact, Most Wanted, again, they put up a great fight. I think it comes down to Rogue had Most Wanted's number. Let's take a look at the highlights before we move on here, ladies and gentlemen, see what happened in that last map. But it just seemed like Rogue had Most Wanted's number in that they knew what Most Wanted was going to be doing within the confines of the meta, which Most Wanted does very much pertain to. And they were countering it directly. I mean, you saw some... Ooh, love the shot by Thinking. But you saw some excellent play, like, for example, the Glass to counteract the kitchen hold from...
I know what this is going to be. In slow motion.
Oh, look at that. I mean, he did hit a bunch of other nades. Eclipse, we don't hate you, man. He did hit a bunch of other really great nades in this match. We have to give him props for that. Same as King Leo. But yeah, just some very specific direct counters from Rogue to deal with Most Wanted, and it honestly seemed like they knew exactly what they were going up against. Whereas Most Wanted playing their own game, but not really doing anything to deal specifically with Rogue.
And it was tough. One thing that I noticed that Rogue did very well was even when they lost 1 or 2, they were still able to largely adapt and make plays while down numbers, something that Most Wanted wasn't as proficient at this time around, and it really bit them, and they struggled to regain their footing after they lost 1 or 2 key components of their team, and I think that's something that they can look towards. This was the amazing hold that we saw when it was King George and Brian, the last 2 left, and a great play from both Redeemer and Chala to keep the team in it. And now Rogue is going to take a 2-0 victory. They're going to top out this group stage at the top of the winners match. And like we said, Most Wanted not done yet. They still have, at minimum, 1 match left in them. And up next, we're going to see Elevate versus WBG. But before that, let's take a brief break. Allow everybody to get some snacks and water and stretch your legs. And we'll be back with match number 2 of North America Playday number 4. We are just starting Super Week. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Welcome back to North American Play Day number 4, day number 2 of Super Week, and we are about to start our second matchup of the day. My name is Parker Interrobang Mackay, and I am joined by Michael Kickstar Stockley. If you hadn't seen the first set of matches, we just saw Rogue go up against Most Wanted in what I think a lot of people were anticipating to be a really good showing between both matches. Very close, but despite that, Rogue pulled ahead 2-0 and now advanced to the playoffs.
You know, it was close, but it wasn't like, it wasn't back and forthy. It was just kind of like Most Wanted putting up a lot of a heck of a fight, but they ultimately really couldn't pull away from Rogue's pressure at any point in that match whatsoever. So while it was a close match, it wasn't. I don't think it was what a lot of us were expecting it to be. It was still, I mean, it was only like 28% in favor of Most Wanted, but still, I feel like they could have put up more of a fight. I feel like maybe they weren't playing up to their own standards of play today, because what we've seen from them in the past has been some pretty incredible play.
Absolutely, and I think that Rogue really took it to them in areas that Most Wanted weren't expecting. They took away Most Wanted's biggest strength, which was how aggressive they could be when you allowed them the room to go after your off-site operators. And in this case, Rogue, we saw it against WBG, and now we just saw it now, is how Rogue was able to keep people like Slashug and Eclipse on top of the attackers the moment they tried to get into the building, and that deprived them of their best ability, which, like I said, was their anti-roam game. So
it was a very specific counter, too,
right
from Rogue. Most Wanted, again, you heard from King George, the Most Wanted relied a lot on their roam game, and that was one of their main, I think one of the main things that was countered, like you said. But it was also some specific things like the Glaz play over towards the kitchen that really emphasized that anti-roam game, because a lot of teams, when they're like, oh, we're going to hunt down the roamers, they'll just throw like maybe a jackal, you know, and they'll just be like, yeah, we apply more pressure to the roamers, we drone more for them, and we start hunting them down as a full cohesive unit. But obviously, from Rogue, they had specific plans in mind to deal with exactly what Most Wanted was doing, despite their minor adaptation from what they had done in the past, which I really have to, you got to appreciate that.
yes.
Also, on their defense as well, Rogue had some very specific counters to the way that Most Wanted was playing when they were attacking onto, for example, the basement. When Most Wanted was playing against Elevate attacking onto the basement, they cleared out that meeting hall roam game simply by challenging onto the angles that Elevate had opened up to fight Most Wanted's attack. And in this instance, Rogue didn't open up those angles. They didn't try to challenge directly. They simply put a lot of things in the way of Most Wanted clearing out the meeting hall, didn't take any specific fights, and got a lot of C4 kills, got a lot of flank kills, and used a lot of their utility to stall out as long as they possibly could, which I think was the perfect way to answer Most Wanted's own roam clear.
It was a really convincing performance, despite how close it was. There were only a couple rounds that I think really could have gone in either favor, and I don't know necessarily if there were enough of them to say that Most Wanted deserved even one of those matches. But that was last match. Let's transition into what we are looking at right now with both World Best Gaming versus Elevate. No interview from WBG, but we do have one available for Elevate with Skies up, and we'll talk to him. Hi, Skies. How are you doing today?
Doing good, Tara. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I think this is the first time we're chatting here on interview, so it's great to finally be able to do this with you. Now, last week, a devastating loss, I'm sure, not something that you were prepared for. It went the distance to those 3 matches. 2 questions. First part, what is something that you noticed now as you've reviewed the VOD over the last 7 days? What were some major miscues for you that you're going to look at fixing this time around?
On Skyscraper, we were really sloppy. We had the bomb down in like a 3v2, and we still somehow lost like our numbers, and they got the defuse down. And then there was also a 3v1 that we were in where it was Chala and Ella for like match point, and we lost that. So it's just like we got really sloppy when we got numbers, and that's something we've worked on throughout the week. And it shouldn't happen this game, but I guess we'll see.
Heading into facing off against WBG, this was something that I asked. This is something that I asked Rogue last week. Was that there's not a ton of footage on them in the way that they've played here in ESL, because they are the newest entrant to the Pro League. Without divulging any major secrets, what is the #1 focus that you're going to look at doing and accomplishing against them in these 2 matches?
Just keeping our comms clear, trusting each other, making the right plays, not getting too aggressive, and not playing too passive. We just got to have a mix of both and just play together. And we could do our best, and I think we could win.
Absolutely. And the last question, a bit lighthearted. Congratulations on your charm being included today. We saw a number of teams playing with the Elevate charm on their weapons, and I'm sure that your entire team is going to be rocking them as well. I don't know if you have an answer to this question, but just out of curiosity, is there any insight that you had as to how Elevate was approached to do this charm and how the process went with getting it secured for you?
I actually have no clue how that happened. I just know that they approached us because Elevate's been in the game for so long. We won the Invitational 10-0. We've been with Elevate for a ton of seasons. They've been in the game actually since the first season. They left because they team broke up or something, and they came back, picked us up. We've been with them since. I think it's a really good org. So I mean, that's probably my guess is they noticed the org is within the game and want to give them some credit for it.
And it's exciting, and people that support you and support the other teams, it's Onslaught, Ents, and Supremacy, if I remember correctly.
I think Millennium as well, yeah.
And Millennium as well are the 5 charms available for everybody to purchase too. So best of luck in your match, and before we say goodbye, anything you want to say to your fans or to the community at large?
Just thank you guys for all the support. Thanks for all the tweets of the Elevate charm. I appreciate it. You guys are amazing, and I hope this is a good game. Hope to make you all proud.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And, I mean, no surprise there. There's some things for them to work out, a disappointing performance against Most Wanted, but they have an opportunity now, and these are the 5 folks that are going to be able to do it. Skies, Shuttle, Laxing, Geo, and England.
So Skies, of course, the main fragger for this team. Laxing, a bit of a rock player, flank watcher, and clutch player for Elevate. Very, very good at getting those clutches. England, super consistent, backup entry, heavy anchor. Geo, heavy playmaker, and very good at bolstering the comms as well. He's just a happy presence to be around. Geo's a really cool guy. He keeps everyone in good spirits, and I think that also, as you can hear from Skies, is going to help their focus here today. Shuttle, going to be that secondary entry fragger as well, along with England, and he is, he's really consistent in that backup frag. Is when Skies goes in, he's always there right behind him, ready to get the secondary kills.
And a strong team, I want to see good performances out of their anchor players. And that was one thing that I think was really, really missing, was we saw Skies and Laxing perform quite well, but I want to look at the way that they play the site too, because we saw Most Wanted could pick apart the roamers and then collapse on the site, and there was very little resistance, or at least what needed to be there. Like we said, no interview for WBG, but let's pull up their roster and take a look at who's fighting on their behalf today.
Yeah, of course, it's going to be Tranks, Temper, Yeti, Dynasty, and Gun Havoc for World Best Gaming. And this is a team, a bunch of these players have been around in the community for a long time. Gun Havoc is one of them I would like to specifically mention. He's been going at it strong since the beginning of Rainbow Six Siege. He just hasn't had any real opportunities to put himself at the top level of play, and I think that's what we're seeing here from World Best Gaming. A lot of scrappy young guys here coming up and putting themselves in that top spot. So, of course, let's talk about Tranks. Grounds the team, a clutch player and a very typical roamer, but can still very good at top fragging for his squad. Temper, a clutch/playmaker. Yeti, the IGL and hype man for the team, also very consistent. Also the newest addition to this roster overall. Then you have Dynasty's a surprising amount. We talked about his surprising amount of hipfire kills, but just apart from that, an excellent fragger for the team. And Gun Havoc, the backbone of the team captain, and the most experienced member overall. Of course, I think he really brings something to center all of these guys and make them what they are. And that's a very good thing to have for your squad.
And it's going to rely on Gun Havoc, and even to some extent Yeti, with the amount that he's played in Challenger and the level that he's played at too, for them to really carry this weight and be able to take those nerves and all that pressure off the shoulders of the rest of their team, because they do have a tall task ahead of them against Elevate, who found themselves in this bracket because of a tough match against a team that was very well prepared. And now it's... both these teams are going to try to fight off relegations. If you're WBG, you don't want to have to fight for your spot because you just fought to get in here. And for Elevate, I think it would be a pretty huge fall from grace to go from playing Penta at the finals to having to fight to stay in Pro League.
It would be reminiscent of what we saw earlier, yesterday, in fact. Flip side, of course, being eliminated from the regular season of this Pro League. Let's take a look at the ban phase, though, for this specific match. It is, of course, going to be World Best Gaming banning first, Elevate banning second. At the bottom, you can see the 9 maps in the map pool. We'll get 3 of them and go into our best of 3. 3 map bans, of course, for each team. But yeah, if Elevate were to lose this, it would be It'd be very much reminiscent of yesterday, and it would be, I think, surprising for a lot of people. I'm expecting the community poll to reflect that, despite the fact that Elevate lost against Most Wanted in the previous week.
Right. An off-the-board first Clubhouse, and then Coastline goes. I wonder if we're going to see a similar matchup in terms of maps that we saw last time.
I mean, we're already seeing a very similar ban phase, except for that bank, of course. But Coastline and Clubhouse, the two of the first bans that were from the last ban phase. Oregon, so actually completely different than what we saw last time. Will we see Skyscraper banned out now by Elevate? That would make it like an entirely different map pool.
If Skyscraper goes, it would be Border versus Chalet, and now Consulate. I'm not going to be surprised if Consulate will be our decider. Border and Chalet, well-known quantities.
I'm expecting it to be Border Consulate.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the two.
All right.
I think that Chalet is probably going to be our decider map. I'm not 100% on that, but I think Border's at least going to be picked.
Right. And
because I mean it's like the map.
Border, you can't throw Border in as a tiebreaker.
Yeah, it's
just not doable.
It's doable, but it's weird. Usually when it makes into the 3 maps, you get one of the teams that wants to play on Border. In this instance, neither of these teams would shy away from that map. So, but who knows? We'll see what they actually decide to pick here. World Best Gaming going to be picking first, Elevate picking second.
So you're going to think Border first or Consulate first?
I'm thinking it's probably going to be Border first.
Okay.
That's the map that, again, most teams prefer to play. I mean, we could see Chalet here, of course, from either team as well. The truth of the matter is all 3 of these maps are going to be... Both of the teams are going to be plenty comfortable on any of them. It really doesn't... Ultimately, it matters preference-wise, but they're not going to be saying, oh, no, we're playing on this map we don't like. Neither of them are going to be in that situation. So it's going to come down to which map they practice the most on both ends of the fence, specifically, and what they have counterplay-wise to go up against the other team. We'll see what World Best actually decides to pick first, though.
And taking their time to decide their starting map as well. Chalet.
So that was actually a bit of a surprise there for me.
Right, and it hasn't been picked at all in North America yet, which is also very surprising for me because...
We've been seeing a lot.
I was going to say, it seems like we see Chalet all the time. For it not to appear until our 4th Playday is a bit surprising.
I guess just not in North America. But Elevate the next pick, I would guess Border. What would you guess?
I'm going to have to go with Consulate just so one of us can be right. Because what if it wasn't? But I do honestly think it's probably going to be Border. I thought that Border and Chalet were going to be the 2 that we saw with Consulate being the
But you
decider.
locked in at Consulate.
I already locked in. I can't hedge my
Consulate.
bets. I can't take it back now. So we'll see what they choose next, and allowing the decider, if we need it, could be Border. It will be
Consulate, which also has not been played.
Interestingly enough. So we're going to see 2 maps debuted here in North America that I can't believe we made it this far without seeing either of those.
Yeah, it is a bit of a surprise. They're 2 maps that are plenty of teams are very comfortable on. I think they've mostly been banned out here so far because of counter-specific picks.
Especially Chalet, I think, has been a counter pick almost every time.
I actually think what we've been seeing from Rogue, I think they're trying to hide their Chalet. I think they actually want Chalet to be something they play in the later ends of this season.
That'd be devious.
However, I do know that there are also a couple people on Rogue who maybe don't like the map. I don't know.
Right.
But they did ban it against, well, just earlier, of course, against Most Wanted. So you guys all saw that. Well, most of you probably saw that. But either way, it's going to be Chalet Consulate Border. Border will be our 3rd map. Blew my mind a little bit, not really though, but I was expecting it to be at least in the top 2. It is the map that I think of these 3 is the most commonly played.
Yeah. And I mean, like, look at last year. It seemed like it was just Border, Chalet, Oregon dominating every single time. And now to have Chalet finally come up. And it's Consulate has been played, at least in EU that I can recall.
It's much more popular in EU.
It's much more popular in EU, which is okay because I like that regional variance. It's very nice to see. And that gives you as a viewer, if you watch all of these, you get to see different teams with different strategies run on different sites too. Because if everybody played Border, Chalet, and Oregon, there's 6 maps that are being neglected there. So it's good that we have this opportunity. We're just waiting for everybody to file into the room before we start. What for us, we asked Skies what he thought. What's for us going to be like the big thing to look at before we throw to the community vote?
What for us is going to be the big thing?
What's the biggest thing? What's the biggest thing to watch for between these 2 teams as they do battle?
Elevate just playing their own game. So exactly what Skies was saying earlier is basically just what we saw with Elevate versus Most Wanted was, yes, Most Wanted played a great game. I don't want to detract from their win at all, but Elevate was not playing up to their own level. It seemed like there was some next level miscommunication going on there, and that's always been a big struggle for Elevate as a team. I was hoping that wouldn't be an issue, given that they brought Gio onto the roster very recently. And again, he's the sort of guy who's going to uplift everyone, especially in comms in the match. He's going to be keeping everyone centered. So hopefully that will actually shine through in this match, because that's what's oh so necessary. If Elevate just plays their own game, they should have this. But we'll see. World Best Gaming also could surprise us. Let's take a look at the community vote before we get straight into the match here, ladies and gentlemen, see what you guys actually thought about who is going to win this. 16% in favor of World Best Gaming, 84% in favor of Elevate, despite the loss in the previous play day for them. And of course, if you want to put your vote in here, it's the @ESL Rainbow 6 on Twitter, and these polls are posted a couple hours before each match. But ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into the match. It is going to be Elevate starting out on attack, World Best Gaming on defense.
Kitchen Trophy Room is going to be the site of our first skirmish here on Chalet. Not too surprising, WBG will go to defense first. Sky's rocking the IQ. That's going to be interesting there for them to see. Have him on that entry frag, and of course with IQ giving you those frag grenades and the 3-speed along with the strong guns. I'm actually surprised that we really haven't seen IQ as a bit more prominent role. I know that Gun Havoc has been favoring her an awful lot, but I just find that a lot of people were suggesting that with all this trap meta coming out, IQ would see a rise in pick rate. In all reality, all we have seen is Thatcher cemented as one of the most crucial operators to run, something we've seen every single season, and obviously no different now as well.
Yeah. And on the note of Thatcher being one of the most commonly picked, of course, the other two anti-electronics are going to be the ones like you talked about here, and I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, most of the time when we've seen an IQ and a Twitch, we've also even seen a Thatcher there. And also, usually if you're doing something along those lines, you'll have a Thermite. But in this instance, since we're attacking in the Kitchen Trophy, which is, of course, the predictable bomb site to be defending first, there's no need for a Thermite, really. An interesting selection overall for Elevate, but they are going to be executing in a very common way, and that's going to be taking from the library. So the thought process for taking from library over to the master office is basically that they don't have to deal with any roam game coming from the flank once they eventually, inevitably, take control over master office, because that's going to be their next stop. And there you could see a couple of the roamers from the defenders falling back into the bomb site early on, because they already, so early on, lost that roam presence in library. They didn't even contest it. There is one more roamer, though, upstairs. A very dangerous game being played there, and Gun Havoc downstairs, just trying to apply as much pressure as possible for as long as possible. That will be negated, of course, by shuttles. Excellent use of the Jackal detection there. Very efficient take so far from Elevate. Applying a lot of pressure to these roamers, forcing them out of their positions. Not wasting any time doing it. Normally at this point I would find that at least 30 more seconds would have transpired, but no. World Best Gaming also has rotations from Master down into the main bomb site, and that's a smart play.
I'm surprised with how hands-off right now WBG is, and just allowing this room to maneuver for Elevate. As you can see now, they're going to take Master Bathroom, begin doing some remodeling upstairs, and Skies is going to put that gadget to good use as they survey where to make a push. They are going to spot the Ella of Gun Havoc, and that is going to be a very key frag if they're able to get it off. They're going to try to pincer him there, and Skies gets a kill. Laxing did have the crossfire in case he decided to move, and that was a great play and about a coordination from Elevate to take out one of the strongest members of WBG and now make it so that they're reliant on the last four. You can see Dynasty is going to take some damage as that Rook. And I'm going to question the Rook over a Dock here, but that's something we can get into next time around.
As the time ticks away here. The roam game not overly successful in the anchor game, also proving the same way as Laxing walks in, gets a sick double kill onto Temper and Dynasty. That's some excellent entry fragging there. Can see Yeti technically, but doesn't hit the shot as Yeti falls deeper into Trophy. Tranks with the refrag onto Shuttle. That is oh so essential in this 2 versus 4 now. But they are both playing inside this main hallway. The Twitch actually going to be overlooked in the corner. Yeti getting the diffuser, but not seeing Laxing right behind him. What a misplay there. Laxing able to get the refrag, but they do need to have the diffuser plant. Tranks is above. He can deny this diffuse plant outright. Skies is going to be the one who has to save this for his team, and he will do so. An excellent execution of Tranks as he drops down into the kitchen. And a nice attack there from Elevate, but an almost perfect recovery from World Best Gaming. And a good first round to start us off here.
I can't believe that the cover of smoke was able to keep Laxing and Yeti inches apart and not able to see one another. Unfortunate for them, but I mean, it was still a high priority frag. Yeti was, of course, able to get that diffuser as it was going down, which in another scenario could have even been more valuable than potentially tussling with that Twitch and losing the diffuser and having to disable it as well. But of course, Sky's there, able to clean up Tranks, and when that hatch is open and you're upstairs, you have, as I've said before, you've telegraphed your next strategy, and there wasn't really much for him to do. A big round from Laxing, as you can see, and Tranks almost saves it for them.
Yeah, and on that note of Tranks almost saving it, I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that he was so close. If World Best Gaming had not lost so many roamers early on in that round, if they had even delayed for just a couple more seconds, that would have been their round. But because Elevate was so efficient with that roam clear, not only getting the kills, but saving the time, then the actual take wasn't so difficult. Interestingly here from Elevate, we're actually going to see a bomb site of the basement rather than the kitchen trophy, which is a little bit different, although, well, you know, that is your secondary bomb site, even if it's not your primary, so you're going to be going there eventually anyway. And they're going to be anchoring a little bit harder, it seems, than what we were seeing from World Best Gaming. As World Best Gaming on their attack, they start their roam game very early on as well. Not quite as efficiently as Elevate. Elevate was already in the building at this point, but still getting started pretty well.
And I'm surprised, like I said, I was surprised with how much room they gave them. Elevate was just able to walk right in. And really, you didn't see a lot of mileage out of that roam game, too. The Ella of Gun Havoc wasn't really able to do any damage. He tried to creep up on them, couldn't do it. Laxing's going to continue his strong play and get frag number 4 for him on the game, onto Yeti. And that's them losing their Ying. We saw the same thing with King George last time around. You've lost your Ying. That's all that utility. Those 3 Candelas and those 2 smoke grenades go to the grave with Ying. And of course, Laxing is going to need to pick up upstairs. Trank's doing some drone work. He's going to get a nice kill there onto Laxing as he's down, and he's just going to wait for Skies to push up, but Skies thinks otherwise and heads back down into Wine Cellar. And you can see that Gun Havoc priming that frag to hit that grenade. Oh, he almost gets Skies. That grenade indicator comes up, and he's able to scoot away at the last second as it does get the barbed wire, but misses him by a hair.
Yeah, but World Best Gaming, they do have the control of the top floor and the middle floor. They have actually managed to cordon off the last 4 defenders into the bomb site, so no worry about the roamers whatsoever. And now they can start to utilize that control, and the Bucks specifically, to open up the holes and get the lines of sight that they need on those anchors. As soon as they start doing that, England's going to be pushed off this mirror window as well as many other positions, and it's going to become oh so much harder for Elevate to actually maintain control of the bomb site and deny the defuse plan. But World Best Gaming, they need to start that now. Skies looking to roam, but being caught out by the Jackal will be forced back into the Wine Cellar. Good rotation there. World Best Gaming, despite having all this control, aren't really making much use of it so far. They haven't opened up Snowmobile with that Hibana. They haven't really put any pressure onto the drop-downs. They're not opening enough necessary holes. They have disabled the mirror window, it seems, but that's one step of many. Temper going to get a kill onto Keith Geo, and a nice successive kill from Dynasty onto Shuttle. Will be looking good for World Best Gaming here. Skies, though, with the refrag as he roams upstairs into the top floor onto Tranks. Dynasty taking out the last anchor. It's all down to Skies in a 1-on-3. He's going to have to get a 4K, I believe, to actually win this round. As the defuse plant comes down, it's not looking good for him. He's got a lot of hurdles to jump over. Temper playing from outside on the Snowmobile garage, looking for the angle to the main stairs. Gun Havoc playing in the back hall. And good use of the Ella charges there from Skies, but it's not good enough as it will not hit any of the enemy. Dynasty playing on top of the A bomb site. Gonna be looking for the angle, but it will be Gun Havoc, in fact, to get the kill on Skies. Nice attempt in vain, unfortunately, there, but a good execution from World Best Gaming overall. Efficient roam clear, same as Elevate, containing the defenders, denying the roam game any significant use into the latter end of that round, and simply clearing up the anchors.
A big mistake at play by the smoke of Elevate as well to expose their heels to that drone hole by Snowmobile Garage.
Yeah.
That's a mistake that we saw King George make as well, and it's something that you just really can't be doing at this time when you're playing against teams like this, largely because it's gonna cost you your life. We see it time and time again, and now your smoke is down, and that allowed WBG to just collapse on the site, and Skies had to retake.
And you know what the fundamental reason behind that drone hole kill is? And it's a lot of people, of course, are going to... This is really basic, right? But a lot of what Pro League comes down to is angle play. Denying positions that can be played by the defenders is one of your primary objectives as an attacker. You push them into locations where you have somebody already waiting. And that drone hole is just another angle that the defenders have to think about of the so many that they already have at their disposal. And as those angles start to slip away, they don't really think about the abnormal ones, such as, hey, a drone hole. That doesn't really pop into their head as like, oh yeah, I have to worry about this, as they're thinking about all this other stuff going on. But overall, that's just good coordination for World Best Gaming, and unfortunately, like you said, an oversight from Elevate. And now we are defending, yet again, the kitchen trophy here for World Best Gaming. They were very unsuccessful here last time, and I think it comes down to a lack of any emphasis on the roam game, and then more importantly, good read on the roam game from Elevate. This time around, it seems that World Best Gaming is actually going to be putting said emphasis into the library with 2 players now, and that might be the turning point that they need to start making this round count go into their favor.
I like a change that WBG has done. Gun Havoc there looked like he was potentially going to go for the spawn peak. They've switched him off to a roamer now, which is something that I don't think we've seen him do so far in the Pro League, is Gun Havoc fulfilling that role of almost IGL, which has now been thrust onto Yeti. Now Gun Havoc is roaming. Of course, one of the things that we first addressed when Gun Havoc was being introduced to us for this season was how good he is off-site, and the fact that he is a good shot. They were able to take him down in round number 1, and that was a crucial frag, so it's going to be incumbent upon him to stay alive and really take advantage of his fragging capability and to take out at least 1 or 2 members of Elevate, at least taking out Elevate early on. And we can see now that even though they made their way inside the building, a minute has been exhausted so far, and WBG is trying to position themselves to get a frag. Skies gets lead-off kill onto Temper. That is one of the roamers down. He'll take out that mute jammer and push up. As you can see, Gun Havoc is going to wait to tangle with him.
This fight, though, on the main stairs, Skies has been pretty triumphant in this regard so far in this map, and Gun Havoc is actually going to default further back down into the fireplace, it seems. Tranks coming up these main stairs to try and support his teammates as Elevate starts to pressure on through the library. Gun Havoc getting spotted out, but Tranks running up the main stairs yet again, catching Kijio off guard. Gun Havoc with another frag through the drop down, taking out Skies, a much more successful roam game, despite the fact that Shuttle gets the refrag onto Gun Havoc, repositioning to the main hallway. There is still only 1 minute left to go, and it is a 3-on-3. The defenders have the positions to work with here to continue to hold this bomb site, and Elevate now are the ones with the pressure on their shoulders.
Calm before the storm. England will disconnect. Unfortunate for them as he was still alive, but it does look like we are going to play on with this round. Laxing, despite being a numbers advantage against him, will take out Tranks, and now it's a 2v2. So until we wait for England to get back, we'll play on. And now Yeti and Dynasty, the last 2 members left, as Shuttle and Laxing. All 4 of these players are capable of winning this round for their respective teams. There will be a race against the clock with 20 seconds. Laxing attacks that barbed wire and will need to inch his way up. He sees Dynasty, goes for the pre-fire, misses, gets a couple shots which land, but he still needs to get inside. They do have the diffuser in Shuttle's capable hands, and they'll try to flush out Yeti, who's playing inside of that trophy room. They'll soften the wall up. Shuttle will take some significant damage, and a shot through it as Dynasty takes him down. Shuttle gets a kill onto him, and it's just up to Yeti, who'll run up, and oh, it's over this round. Yeti with the knife kill to finish things off. And look at those stats. Laxing and Skies doing a tremendous job for their team. 2-1 WBG.
And the first lead for WBG as well.
In Pro League so far for them.
Yeah, and that is oh so crucial going into this match. It seems like they have a better... I have to say, 84% to 16% in favor of Elevate. I feel like that's a bit of, just a bit off balance for what we're seeing here so far. WBG putting up a heck of a fight. It makes some good adaptations too. I really have to emphasize what they did on their roam game there. So the last time they were defending the kitchen trophy, it was in fact, they didn't really roam. Right. And they had one guy in the basement, and everyone else just kind of fell off the top floor, went back into the site, and waited for the push to come. That guy down in the basement, Gun Havoc, didn't really get any work done. And in this this time around, they put up much more of a fight. They wasted a ton of time, and they came away with an even man count on the roam game, which is also important. So great job to WG doing that. Good changes there. We did have, of course, a bit of a crash there from Shuttle, so we will be doing a quick rehost. We'll be back into the match in just a second. On that last round, what really stood out to you?
Well, I mean, it was a 3v3. England disappears, and I think that was the biggest factor to me, is that you lose England and immediately Laxing picks up that kill. It would have essentially put them at a 2v3. But in this case, you now find themselves at even strength with time running out, and they had to run up, and the moment they tried to take that site, it was a good job by Yeti to deny them the push through the door. They were still able to get through. Shuttle lost a bunch of his life, but Laxing paused. Laxing, of course, falls through that doorway. They trade. Dynasty goes down as well, and then it was just Yeti versus Shuttle. At that point, Shuttle has no choice but to get the defuse off, and when it's 7 seconds, you are exposed, and it's a one-on-one. Unless they're very far off site, you're going to be able to get there in time, and there was just no chance. If England hadn't disconnected, then they would have had a lot more opportunities to take that site. And you would have had England providing some covering fire as well, because you saw Laxing was lined up for it, but then had to rotate to the front of that kitchen to try to help him in case Dynasty pushed up. If you had an extra body, I think that would have made a big difference. Yeah,
that extra man just to cover the angle, because of course it would have been the same situation, right? But then one extra gun, oh look, Yeti's running through the smoke, oh well, easy frag, right? And the Shuttle gets the defuse plan off, or not, regardless, it doesn't really matter. Unfortunate set of circumstances there, but it was still really well played from World Best Gaming, despite the disconnect and the, from Elevate. And I think that they're going to be able to continue that forward on Chalet. It seems like World Best Gaming has some really interesting interpretations of Chalet and a good understanding of it overall. I think that in this match so far, of course, we've only seen 3 rounds played, but it has been, from World Best Gaming, the best adaptation we've seen from outright in this entire Pro League. And Elevate seems to be playing a little bit more rigid, which is counter to their typical play style, and I hope that they can loosen up a little bit moving forward. But if World Best Gaming continues to play this kind of game, I think that they're going to take at least this map number 1. And that might be a little bit early to call it, of course, with a 1-round lead, but it has been looking good.
They've looked like a very different team, and I think some of that also can go to the change from Gun Havoc. I know that they're working with their coaches, and one thing I wanted to touch upon on the game prior that I didn't actually get an opportunity to do so is how good of a job Ranger has done with Rogue earlier on. Having coaches is something that is not really new to Rainbow Six, but we are certainly seeing their impact increase over the last season or 2, and I think that's going to make a big change going forward, because it allows another set of eyes that's disengaged from the action to tell you. And when you've got somebody saying, no, I don't think you're good in this position, no, I think a better change would be this, it removes the egos from those roles, and now having Gun Havoc switch off of Anchor to Roamer is already paying dividends for them.
Even if you have a player who's playing a position who's not even egotistical, if he's just a player who's like, he's playing a position and it's not working for him, sometimes he won't even see that.
Absolutely.
And it's really great to have a coach in a position to tell you that. And of course, some of you may have known this, that World Best Gaming's coach is in fact, I believe, Ken's, who is a little bit of a lesser known coach in this community, but he does put in a lot of work, as you can clearly see from the changes that World Best Gaming have implemented since the last time they played. And that's really good to see. You've got Ken's, you've got Bacon, you've got Shaz, a lot of guys who, Shaz, of course, with the coach for Penta, a lot of guys who put in more work than is seen immediately by a lot of people. But coaches, on the note of what you were talking about, coaches are now becoming, I think, the norm for teams in the Pro League. If you don't have one as a Pro League team, you put yourself at a significant disadvantage. But that said, that conversation aside, we're going to get back into Chalet. The score is going to be 2-1 in favor of World Best Gaming on this first map of this best-of-3 series. And we will continue from where we left off. We will have World Best Gaming on attack, Elevate on defense, and it will be a kitchen trophy hold. Of course, ignore that 0-0 scoreline, ladies and gentlemen, as there you go. It gets updated.
2-1 for WBG. They'll go to attack, and Gun Havoc still sticking with that IQ. I think that IQ is going to fall out of favor. I like that Sky's played her for 1 round, but I don't know if it's I don't know if we're going to see it again emerge. Of course, Gun Havoc playing that so successfully. No real different operator choices at the moment for WBG, and now, of course, we see
a distinct lack of a trap meta on the Elevate side. Really surprised by that. No, no Ella. That really, honestly, I think that might be them, maybe a little bit of a moral thing there. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe there's maybe it's the castle. They need the castle, so they don't want to bring the Ella. But then why not just like rotate out the bandit? We're talking about a kitchen trophy defense. Do you need a bandit? Do you even need a Mira? If you're using the Miras, they got to be upstairs. This is your primary focus on the top floor. Okay, so the primary focus, I guess, why they brought the Mira and the bandit has got to be they're trying to use the Mira with bandit charges upstairs to hold off the roam clear. That's the only explanation I can really come up with. Maybe they have some new. I want to see where those mirror windows are. Marsu, could we see where those mirror windows are? So they are going to be placed upstairs. So that is actually going to be the strategy. That's exactly what it is. Using the mirror windows upstairs with bandit batteries is their specific focus. So they had no actual rotation of the operator opportunities here, as they also need the Jaeger and the Valkyrie. So the lack of an Ella, very calculated from Elevate. I like that, although it is kind of surprising still. Kid Geo going to get the first kill of the round. That's going to be on Tranks outside. Good run out use of cams there by the Valkyrie player.
That's a really wonderful cam, too, and it's very similar to the one we saw in Cafe that Foxay did in the very first week
Yeti
as well. It comes very close. And now Kid Geo's just going to sit upstairs. Not an unusual strategy to see a Valk hang out up top and use those cams to watch and surveil, maybe pop out and get a frag or two. Impatience from Shuttle. He'll pop the Mira and rotate as he hears that castle barricade being picked away at. The Shuttle sits on top of those stairs. WBG struggling to get inside. No doubt that the loss of both Tranks and now Yeti are going to severely impact their ability to push freely into the site. Laxing, who's been doing very, very well so far today, which is good to see from Laxing, especially since we haven't seen him pull out his patented Blackbeard just yet. Doing, I guess, this entire match so far on Twitch, on attack, and that F2 is a nice weapon to have at your disposal when switching to another operator.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're going to be rotating off Blackbeard, I mean, arguably Laxing's one of the better Blackbeards in the North American region. Right up there with the likes of Young or King George, you know. A lot of guys who really excel at that role. Not playing him as much is got to be a little bit different, but he's been doing some good work despite that fact. And now as the castle, Laxing's going to be holding this B window push. It looks like that's the only strat that WBG really has up their sleeve. And Laxing just holding the corner nice and easy against 3 attackers. Now going to get 2 kills, or at least 1 down, as Kid Geo finishes off the downed player. It is going to be down to Gun Havoc now in a 1 versus 5, 20 seconds to go, 1 HP, or 1 bullet's worth of HP. Not looking good for him. He's going to be challenged first by Shuttle on these main West Lobby stairs. Shuttle just waiting for the pressure. But, oh, look, there's Kid Geo again with the final kill of this round, eliminating Gun Havoc. Putting it now into a 2-2 even round count. Kind of just seemed like World Best Gaming got stalled out on that round.
They lost Tranks right away, and that was, I think, for me, I was assuming that they were probably going to try to take advantage of that main lobby, be able to buck underneath, flush out the roamers, which we saw the Bandit doing from above, and then be able to make their push. When they lost them, that would knock them on their heels, and it's one of those things where you don't have the ability to recover as well as you need to, and we're tied up. But now they're going to go to defense and see if they can hold as well as they did last time.
I really like that roam game from Elevate. We can't overlook it because it's something that doesn't happen very often. The specific roam game that they utilized, it wasn't overly exposed, and it was really well contained. And I gotta appreciate what they did there. They hit that mirror window that was facing towards library behind the chimney, which is great use of that mirror window upstairs, because normally when we have that mirror strat, it's just over by master office, and they'll put both of them over there, and they get cleared out by a Twitch drone, and that's that. But the having control emphasized on both sides of the top floor is really cool to see. I also, you know, it's also nice to see that Ella, an operator who is arguably one of the best defensive operators right now in this current meta, not seeing play, but yet it being extremely well calculated by the fact that they needed every other role on that defense. That's the sort of strategy that is well thought out, and it's always cool to see them, where you take away all preference picks, and it comes down to what do we as a team need in this round. Gotta appreciate that.
Elevate has taken control of main garage. You saw above that when Shuttle pushed in, a bit of a worry with that open hatch. And they've lined their pieces up now, and it's just a matter of whether they can get control of this board. You can see that Geo has already been hit by the concussion mine, and he won't last very long from above. Gun Havoc establishing his dominance over top of that trophy window, and a very good opening frag for WBG to ensure that this round starts off better than it did for them last.
So of course, one of the primary parts, or one of the primary cogs in the machine of attacking onto the wine cellar is establishing control over the trophy. But if the defenders can deny you that from above, then they'll do that. And usually you'll have the attackers then instead start to push onto the master balcony before they push into trophy. But in this instance, that didn't happen. And Gun Havoc has now repositioned himself behind Shuttle on this attack. And Elevate not only lost a player early on, their primary roam clear in that Jackal, but also now have to deal with a Gun Havoc Ela player all the way in Big Garage, who they are not 100% conscious of. This is a lot of bad happening for Elevate all at once, especially as the time ticks down as to 1:20 in this round left. All he needs to do here is wait patiently. He doesn't need to apply any unnecessary pressure, especially now that his teammate Temper, his backup on that west lobby, has been eliminated by Shuttle. That's a good refrag, very important for Elevate, but it's ultimately not going to matter, as again, those roamers are still in great positions to continue to apply pressure to this wine cellar attack, which has lost a lot of teeth since they don't have that big garage control. As England opens up the wine cellar closet, Dynasty is going to be the one with the brunt, facing the brunt of his attack, and he will do so excellently, taking out Laxing outside the main wine cellar closet. But now he's pinched in this corner, and Elevate is well aware of him.
The final 30 seconds. England's going to look to try to push into that closet from the hallway. He's going to have to tangle with both Yeti and Dynasty before he can do that. And you see Gun Havoc is just sitting and waiting as the flank to push up. The moment that they're able to establish control, you will see that Skies will have to push in, and Gun Havoc is primed and ready. Good position right now for WBG to capitalize. You'll see Skies will come up, doesn't check his angles. England's going to get a kill. Immediate refrag from Gun Havoc as England is down. Yeti gets a shotgun kill. It's just Shuttle left. He's going to try to come on to site, but Tranks finishes it off, and WBG, what a performance, will regain the lead by a score of 3-2 on a very good hold.
Look at that angle from Temper, not risking anything in that fight. It would have been incredible to see Shuttle hit that shot. Honestly, probably would have been straight luck. And just a great hold overall for World Best Gaming. Now, it mostly comes down to the fact that Elevate was incapable of denying the roam game. And if you're talking about a wine cellar attack, it's a good attack strategy, and I would say one of the easier ones to execute. The main thing, though, is you have to deny the roam game flanking you later in that round. If you cannot contain the roamers on a wine cellar attack, it will almost always fall apart. And you saw Elevate, they tried to adapt. They were conscious of the mistake they made. They knew they didn't have enough time to reciprocate and take that big garage control and then establish master and trophy. They knew they didn't have time to do that. So their answer to the question of, okay, well then how do we attack is, let's just, instead of relying on that crossfire that is oh so important of opening up the main wine cellar wall and the closet, let's just open up the closet and try to push on that. Now, if it were the case that the mute playing over by the the dining table inside a wine cellar, if it were that mute hadn't got the kill on, I believe that was the thermite pushing in, then we probably would have seen that attack be a little bit more successful. But because that initial entry frag was eliminated, it really wasn't a lot that Elevate could do in that round, losing too many tiers of their attack. Now we're going to be defending the basement here for Elevate. This is going to be their first time on this site.
I like that they brought out a Glass with them, hoping to get a bit more going, a bit more fragging power off of their attack now. If you remember last round that they were on the attack, they lost right away because Tranks went down in the ensuing in the first 30 seconds of action. That was a problem for them. They don't have Geo up top. Instead, they've put him onto the smoke, given Laxing that role of Valkyrie, to get those cams down, but not really need to make them.
And this is really important here. WBG has been successful where Elevate failed on the last round. They have established control over trophy, and as a result, they have control over the roam game. They can contain any flanks that will come from the drop downs into Big Garage and the west lobby stairs. That's the only way that the defenders can flank them, apart from, of course, the main lobby into dining and the master Master drop down, but again, that's still covered by the buff.
Some supporting fire for WBG as they push up towards that open hatch now, thanks to the ex-Kairos of Hibana. And both Yeti and Gun Havoc are going to, I guess, inchworm their way or army crawl their way towards that opening. Shuttle is the lone man there to bandit trick. As you can see, Tranks is sitting from above, and I think that Buck is going to be a big question mark as they go forward. A nice smoke in from Dynasty, and another is going to go off now as well. That's going to flush out that A site and push them back, and Shuttle is going to be in a very awkward spot. As you can see, a Candela goes down, and what a frag from Yeti using a tight angle. That's going to push Shuttle out of the fight. He's done for round number 3, an advantage in favor of WBG as they look to try to take match point, or take us to match point rather. Temper will get that plant down before he gets shredded. Oh, a double story kill from Geo. That's a good play there as England goes down to Dynasty, and they're still gonna have to worry about that smoke on that second floor, something WBG wasn't anticipating. Laxi will try to come on site, and that's the second defuse down. As Yeti goes down to the Valkyrie of Lax, he's going to go under fire. Sky's the wild card up top, as Geo's going to need to get back down on site. A trade as Laxing eliminates Gun Havoc, but Dynasty gets number 2, and Tranks picks out Geo. It's just Skies left. He'll go for Tranks, and it's a 1v1. Skies versus Dynasty. Glaz versus Ella. And he's going to have to get that diffuser as Skies might have to drop through that hatch. A game of chicken. He'll hit him with that concussion mine. Sky's trying to figure out exactly where that Glaz sits from below. He'll have good sights on that diffuser, and Dynasty in rough spot. He'll grab it, Skies drops, and I don't know if Dynasty hears him, but he'll wait for that plant. And he can see him. What a shot from Dynasty as WBG steals the round, and Skies denied that clutch. They'll push us to match point 4-2 in favor of WBG.
Skies played that almost perfectly, just slightly better play from Dynasty. I mean, it's not like Skies could have done much better there in that situation. He gauged the drop correctly. He gauged the position of Glaz correctly. He utilized his abilities correctly. He did almost everything right. It just wasn't enough, and it came down to the fact that WBG, this is the most important fact, came down to the fact that WBG was so incredibly efficient in terms of time in their early roam clear and attack the beginning of the round. They got into trophy without losing anything, time or manpower. They established the control on the roam game, and then they simply pushed into Wine Cellar, wasting no time at all. And even after Elevate started getting the frags to get themselves back in that round, there was still 40 seconds left to go for the 2v2, and that's plenty of time for World Best Gaming to take it nice and slow as on their attack, get that diffuser, and go for a late plant, which they didn't end up even getting. But all the same is going to be now match point. Match point WBG. What is happening? Elevate.
I don't know if this is a combination of not enough preparation. I'd said in the interview with Skies that they didn't have a lot of footage from Pro League, and that's true. But WBG has been very active in other leagues, other tourneys, other associations where they are casted and they are streamed. So there are tons of footage, or tons of videos rather, and a lot of footage for anybody to really find if they need them. And it's incumbent upon you to compete at this level that you need to do your homework. And that's where coaches come in. I think that WBG looks very prepared. I like the change for Gun Havoc. Yeti playing his role very grounded. And it's just, it's unfortunate if you're a fan of Elevate at the moment, because they're just not getting anything going. They just seem like they're being outmaneuvered, and you cannot rely on Laxing and Skies to carry the way, which is what it looked like against Most Wanted, and now the same thing happening here.
That's an excellent point to emphasize there, is that it honestly, sometimes it feels like you're just leaving it up to Skies and Laxing. Specifically Skies too, as of late. I mean, we saw him in that last second. He played that clutch correctly. Like, he could have maybe done a couple of things differently, but ultimately he played the clutch correctly. Laxing, though, on the other note, going to get the first kill this round onto Gun Havoc. That's a good frag. The roam game still applying pressure to this attack in this round. We'll just jump to this round. We'll off that topic altogether. The roam game from WBG still having an influence on this round, despite losing their first player in Gun Havoc. You do have 2 roamers downstairs in the basement. That's Tranks and Temper. And there's only half the round left, so Elevate need to start applying the pressure. Oh, and on that note of the roam game, Elevate had a huge roam game on that last round, there wasn't a lot of anchorage really going on inside the bomb site, and I think that also might have hurt their hold just a little bit.
I think having Gio upstairs was a mistake. Yes,
Agreed.
it was great that he could get that high impact frag from above,
But it
he
was
didn't have his smokes.
Smoke, exactly.
And
Thank
it
you.
allowed them to walk right in. And yeah, if you're going to use pure gunplay to be able to get those kills, that's one thing. But there's a reason why there are operators designed for area denial and designed that as the time ticks away, they are exceptionally important in the cornerstone of that last-minute defense. Smoke, of course, falls into that category. And without him, you're going to have a bad time. We are now just under a minute in what could be the final round between WBG and Elevate on map number 1 of Chalet. After a rehost, you can see at the top, 4-2. And Skies has sustained some significant damage. Laxing 2, even though Gun Havoc is off the board. But WBG is just going to try to hang on. A very prolific roam game. But we are now in the final 30 seconds. And at the moment, Elevate is stalling out. They're going to push in together, a coordination through West Main, move in towards Trophy, and you can see, whoa, Laxing and Shuttle, 2 very important kills on both Temper and Dynasty. It's going to fall onto Tranks and Yeti. Yeti is going to be the last one left as Tranks goes down, and England is able to secure a very important kill. Yeti's going to get 1. He's going to dodge that grenade. He's going to go for Skies. Can't do him. He tries. No. Can't decide whether he's going to take Laxing or Skies down. And now it is a 4-3 in favor of WBG. We inch towards overtime, and Elevate still alive.
One thing I actually want to emphasize there is that if the smoke had, instead of confronting the attackers through the map, so it could be the case that WBG was just more practiced on Chalet. Although I can't even present that argument. That's normally what I would say in a situation like this, but we saw from Elevate a very clearly sort of new, change on the top floor hold for that kitchen trophy specifically. They even utilized a couple older angles, like the one from all the way up in office from Geo, that smoke, which is a good angle, but like you said,
I don't think the smoke should be playing that.
Exactly. So it's not. You can't present the argument that Elevate's not practiced on Chalet. You really can't. They were using a lot of really interesting things. It just seemed like the fundamentals, and this is weird for me to say because I would have expected to be the complete opposite. But it seems like the fundamentals from WBG is what carried them through there. Good adaptation, not really crazy strategy, just understanding of the map and adapting in a similar fashion to, again, let's compare to Penta.
Another thing, too, is that one of the changes that I think is very smart is Yeti was playing a Ying from time to time, but you saw that he could also flex onto that entry fragger role, and with that last push in particular, you put Tranks patrolling that main garage beneath to flush out and put pressure from below on the players that were inside of Trophy Room. And then when they were able to climb in through that window and take complete control of that site, you had Yeti now being able to entry frag from there. He got the kill on Geo, it was very important, and then they'd established control already. At that point, Elevate was now boxed out of the site, and just little changes like that you see a lot of these teams, they have their defined entry fraggers, they have their defined rushers, their quarterbacks, their supports, that sort of thing. WBG is now able to take different players and thrust them into different roles, and it's working. And that's something that they didn't do at all against Rogue. And now I like these changes, and it's really going to come down to how confident Elevate is on Consulate, which we are just starting up right now for match number 2, and Elevate facing their season coming to an end at the hands of WBG on map number 2 here on North America PlayDay number 4.
And as we load into the map again, going to be Elevate starting on attack. Shuttle actually going to be joining them on the attack as well. Let's fancy that. But World Best Gaming on defense, it is going to be the console office meeting room to start us off. I believe that is the top floor. Now, it's interesting that we're on a map now. Okay, we're on a map that is, I would say, I love that they're using great use of the castle strategy here from WBG. Really allows a lot more flexibility. But anyway, to continue with my point, just to cite one thing, you were talking about operator adaptation from the last map, right? And how WBG has been doing a great job of that specifically. And I agree, 100%. But also, just strategically, their adaptation has been fantastic. One thing to cite, just one thing to reference, excuse me, just specifically, was that change on the last round that we just saw, where instead of attacking very typically, as you would, towards the master and the library to clear out those roamers, they saw that Elevate was holding that, and they're just like, we're going to go downstairs into the big garage, we're going to rush in through the big window, and it caught Elevate off guard. So those reads from WBG are fantastic. Now, where I'm trying to go with that conversation is on a map like Consulate, I would argue is even more flexible. There are more opportunities to make those changes mid-round or mid-match on this map than there are on Chalet. So if WBG is able to continue with that mentality, with that style of play here, if they have just as many tricks up their sleeve, then this is going to be it's going to be hard pressed for Elevate to actually bring this back. And here you can see, just to start us off, mirror window facing towards admin, very typical, trying to delay this push from Elevate.
I like that they've put Tranks onto the castle as well. Temper now fulfilling the role of that roamer in Bandit, or at least somewhat on site. They're going to keep Tranks close, and he's used to that roaming role, but I would assume that now that Gun Havoc has fulfilled it, there's going to need to be somebody closer to the site.
Sorry about the sound bug there, ladies and gentlemen. It seems to have dissipated. Laxing gets the mirror window. That is oh so important. A Twitch drone is deemed useful 100% if it gets a mirror window, and that's some great use from Laxing. It seemed to have taken him 2, but that is still, you know, even if you have to use both of them, he has now freed up the push for the rest of his team to go into the meeting hall, and they are doing just that, as the mirror has fallen off of his own mirror window into connector. Tranks and Mira then, Dynasty, going to be the 2 players holding off this push into the A bomb site, and the pressures are starting to mount here as Elevate position themselves perfectly to get a rush, it seems. Trank's going to be holding the hard 90 angle on the doorway. Gets droned out, though, decides to get a little bit more passive. That's smart. But you can see World Best Gaming have 2 players in a position to face the brunt of this attack, and then 2 players in position to get the retake. And just cover the off angles.
All 10 operators still up as we hit the 60-second mark remaining. WBG in for a frenzy as Tranks gets droned out and will get shot at as well. And will need to escape that fallen desk in bomb site A. And they're going to start their pressure. England's going to be able to pick off Dynasty as first kill, and Elevate already starting off better than they did last time around. With all these walls open, Tranks is going to be in rough shape, and he's going to likely be the next to fall with contact, but Gun Havoc is going to get a very significant kill on Disguise. A grenade is going to go in, and Tranks will get down by it, but not out, as he's finished off as Laxing and Shuttle pick up a couple on Gun Havoc and Tranks. That's going to leave a 4v2, as Yeti and Temper still stand for WBG, and everybody but Sky's up for Elevate. This 20 seconds as another flash is going to go in. They're going to need to peel Yeti off. He's going to run in. A nut as the wise idea as Yeti gets picked apart. Temper gets Kajil and now goes for Laxing. He gets him. Just 2 left. Diffuser going down for England. A Shuttle still upright with full health. And Temper just a couple shots through that wall. What a shot from Temper as he's going to go for England! Temper the clutch!
You're
unbelievable! Insane. And now just the Diffuser as WBG somehow steals a round away from Elevate to take it. First all on Consulate, 1-0.
A little bit of a confession to make here, ladies and gentlemen. We keep track of the score manually on writing it down here throughout these matches, and I have to confess, I did write down 1-0 in favor of Elevate as that diffuse plant went down, but no, Temper's just like, nah. No. So excellent clutch there from Temper, bringing it back and giving them, in fact, World Best Gaming the first round of this map. Woo, that was something.
What a rally that was. Temper comes out of nowhere, manages to secure, what was that, a 4K to end the round as well. If it wasn't for Gun Havoc picking off Skies early on, that would have been all Temper, and unbelievable for them to be able to take that as a 1v4 clutch and the Diffuser, as WBG is now 4 rounds away from going on to the next round, and Elevate, the pressure is on.
And as we start a defense of the bottom floor, Elevate, they got to be feeling like, all right, we got to batten down the hatches. They have to start to like just really cover everything, because there were so many mistakes made by Elevate in that last round that allowed Temper to actually get that 4K. I mean, of course, you're going to be making mistakes like pushing in to get the frags. There were a couple, I mean, Gotta be honest, it was just a little bit of frag hunting there. Is they had control of the bomb site, they had the man advantage, they just needed to get the defuse plant, cover their avenues, and wait patiently. But no, we saw a couple players rush in to try and take down Temper individually. And because they allowed Temper to enter into nothing but one-on-one engagements, it was an extremely impressive clutch from Temper, but it was also handed to him.
I gotta wonder why England contested that angle too.
Yeah.
Sit and wait on the diffuser, force Temper to come into you, and it's something that we've seen England do a number of times. You lay prone by that doorway, and the moment that they go to push in, it's very easy for you to get that because you know there's a way for them to enter. In this case, though, England peaked it early and lost it. Now you can already see that WBG has opened both of those panels up on that garage. And Elevate is going to do the same thing they did against Most Wanted, which is they're going to have to play very far back. And that has hurt them every time we've seen that.
We do have a Mira playing inside of the bathroom on the middle floor. Now that, using that Mira window, he is going to try and delay this push onto Piano as long as possible. Is in fact going to get opened up actually very early on. That might prompt Geo to simply fall back to the bomb site. But no, Skies tries to save the Mira window. Unfortunately, a little too late there. And as a result, now the Mira window has been disabled in bathroom, which nullifies that roam game inside of the bathroom itself. And the main garage panels, both 1 and 2, have been opened up. Shuttle elsewhere is going to get a kill onto Tranks, though. That's going to be very good for Elevate. Their roam game still alive and well. World Best Gaming not really putting any emphasis on that right now, instead trying to focus primarily on a straight take into the bomb site. Kid Geo going to be the one to try and confront this head-on using a C4. He is going to get flashbangs, but I don't think that's going to matter much, as there's nobody from World Best Gaming trying to even play off that flashbang. Simply going to blind Kid Geo for a second. England still on that Mirror window, and the challenge continues. Gun Havoc going to nade himself, and the momentum continues to dissipate here for World Best Gaming. A seemingly successful hold, not necessarily entirely up to Elevate, but still a successful hold all the same.
That's the type of momentum that you'll ride to victory potentially in the round, or at least one more to go as you hear the cavalcade of smokes go off, and Temper's going to have to push in and get a plant. You can see the amount of cameras right now that is being used, and what a throw by Geo onto Temper. That's going to take him out as smoke goes down now. Yeti is going to get a kill, and first for WBG this round as England is off the board. Dynasty's going to have to charge in, but from above gets picked apart. Oh, and Shuttle and Skies do cleanup work as Yeti was able to get another, but not good enough. Elevate. Signs of life. Tied up. One apiece.
So that round, World Best Gaming straight stalled out outside the garage. Lost a couple players to the roam game of Elevate. Didn't really attempt to clear it in any meaningful fashion. And it was a pretty simple hold.
And Gun Havoc going to the King Leo school of grenade tosses. We've seen two students today with him in Eclipse.
Yeah, so King Leo, he got a couple, just on the story of this, King Leo got a couple team kills, and I think it was just a self-kill as well with his nade in the Pro League.
He got team killed.
Yeah, it was a team killed.
He got team killed.
Anyways, just some mixed matches with those nades, unfortunate. And then today, he came out with some amazing nade play. Eclipse had a couple mistakes, and then he came out with amazing gameplay. So now, Gun Havoc, he's the one. He's killed himself with his nade. Now, we got to get a couple great Gun Havoc nade kills here to kind of even it out and continue the trend. So it's on you, Gun Havoc. Give us some nade kills, man, I believe.
And that will be worrisome of your Elevate, because it does appear that there is a curse. You nade yourself, or you almost nade yourself, and then it's almost like it brings you back from the dead. And in this case,
it's like, oh, I need to be better.
Tranks went upstairs, and my observation was that Tranks went upstairs to hunt roamers by himself as Buck, which is okay from time to time, but in this case with Elevate, there wasn't really much they could do. Geo and Skies were too much for them. They lost the ability to blast open those floors or ceilings if you're Elevate and apply that pressure, and then when Gun Havoc went down too, you now have a lot less avenues to get those crossfires for the plants as well. Dynasty missed a pretty easy shot, if I can say, on Geo when he rotated, and that right there was an important frag to have gotten. They weren't able to do so, and then it just fell apart.
And I have to say, what's up with that trying to clear all of the roamers from Elevate by yourself? I mean, again, we talked about this the last time we saw. Oh, wow. Opens up the angle onto Yeti, but doesn't capitalize on it. You need to keep shooting, Shuttle. An unfortunate mistake there is going to cost them a little bit of momentum. And Yeti's going to be able to walk away with his life. That's even more important because it's smoke as well. That means that as the last minute ticks away here, every single second counts more because smoke can delay for if you're good smoke, you can delay up to a minute with those 3 gas grenades. But yeah, what's up with trying to clear out one of the most notorious roam games in the entire North American Pro League? That's the Skies Laxing roam duo by yourself. That just seems foolhardy. Nope, first kill of this round. Going to be Geo onto Temper. Very important kill that. Still half the round to go for these attackers, but there is also Gun Havoc positioning himself quite wisely inside of Passport. He's going to be challenged by Laxing, but Laxing might not even drone this out. As Shuttle gets a second kill through the floor onto Yeti. Dynasty now playing in pipes is going to be spotted and marked. All that Skies needs to do is simply walk down those stairs and pre-fire the corner. Now a 2-on-5, and it's just down to the roamers. No anchors left on the bomb side. As soon as Elevate pushes in, they're going to get the defuse plant, and here it comes. Gun Havoc now the last as Tranks gets taken out on his rotation back. Gun Havoc inside of the kitchen has to ace to bring this back, and I don't think it's going to happen. Hijio runs into the kitchen, is the first kill for Gun Havoc. It's looking a little bit better. Laxing on the back stairs, waiting for the rotation into the lockers hallway. Gun Havoc conscious of this. Skies from the yellow stairs will finish things up, though, as Gun Havoc peeks around the corner into the hallway. And a very concise round from Elevate.
This is the kind of round that they're going to need to string together to get themselves back on even footing against WBG. They need to be resilient with the fact that they are now potentially facing elimination in this round. And of course, as you spoke to, Consulate is their map choice. This is where it needs to happen. They should be comfortable with it. I don't imagine that Elevate is going to be a team that is going to get beaten in the map pick phase. Like we saw, Rogue, I would suspect, probably beat WBG last time around. And in this case, now WBG is going to feel a bit more confident on Chalet. It was a commanding performance, a great start. But at the moment, Elevate just looks sharper in almost every way, at least so far, even with WBG stealing round number 1.
So I wouldn't argue overall that Elevate seems more practice on this map. I would argue that WBG is making a lot of mistakes, like really rookie mistakes. Right. For example, on that last round, just one specific thing that a little bit kind of blows my mind for WBG. I don't think I saw any barbed wire on those yellow stairs. And if I did, there wasn't nearly enough. Usually, even if the attackers clear out the barbed wire on the yellow stairs, there'll be tons of like little, broken pieces of barbed wire everywhere because you need to put like 3 or 4 pieces there, as that's like the main avenue for the attackers to apply pressure outside of the primary garage directly to the bomb site. And it was very well utilized, as you could see there from Skies just walking down. As again, no barbed wire, not enough emphasis placed on the very common pushes. So it seems like Elevate is playing their game here, but WBG doesn't have anything creative or new or fresh that like they did on Chalet to show on Consulate, and they're also missing a couple of their basic things. And of course, if it weren't for Temper, this would be a 3-0 right now. So Elevate definitely seeming a lot stronger, obviously. So the question then becomes, if we get to Border, who's going to be the more proficient team on that map? Because it is coming down mostly just to mistakes made by each side. No, on this round though, WBG pushing in through the admin are going to very effectively get their way in there without losing any serious momentum. No mirror windows on the Elevate side of things, so they're not trying to stall up from Cafeteria. And as a result, WBG, while still being methodical and slow, have pushed their way in without any serious, well, again, no serious problems, I already said it. They're going to eventually start challenging that main hallway. And England's going to be the player inside of the A-bomb site. The nade from Gun Havoc, what a excellent nade. Straight into the bomb site, perfectly timed. And that is going to be a lot of pressure alleviated for WBG pushing into the A. And the C4 miss from Elevate now. That's even worse.
You lost your smoke. I was going to touch upon how great these vault cams are, but as you touched on, as Geo gets Yeti to make it a 4-4, and now he's going to look to make sure that anybody that pushes in doesn't have the opportunity to really get any kind of leverage on them. Gun Havoc is going to be under fire from Shuttle. Geo is also going to do double duty. This is a nail biter as Shuttle takes Gun Havoc and Tranks to Shuttle, Geo to Tranks, and now Dynasty is going to wait to see if Geo's going to push, but he will look away as he gets that cam. Sky's around the corner, and Dynasty is going to manage to get away without being seen. It's him versus Temper. Are we going to see another clutch? As at the moment, Elevate positioned very well for the push from World Best Gaming to come in. You can see Laxing going to pick off Dynasty. It's just Temper left in a 3v1. We've seen him in this position before, but it's a lot of pressure this time around, and will he have that same magic to do it again? Elevate will be patient. There's 1/6 of the round still to go, 30 seconds. Temper softens up a corner, tries to draw them out, and will now move into the copy room. Spotted by Skies. Oh, and what a shot from Temper on the Skies. He's still got 2 left, and he knows that Laxing lies in wait. He'll get shot at by Geo, can't get the kill, and he'll try to go for Laxing. Under fire, the magic runs out. Elevate pulls ahead to 3-1, and it looked for a moment there like Temper was gonna get it yet again.
The difference, though, Elevate playing smart and slow, not taking the risks, completely unnecessary risks that they took on that first round when they were pushing into Temper. They didn't give him an inch. Actually, they did. Skies did peek very aggressively as that Pulse, thinking he could handle Temper playing in the printer, and he made that mistake of dying there. But immediately after, the important thing, Geo and Laxing completely fell off. They're like, all right, 10 seconds? No, we're not taking this fight. We will wait. He has no chance of killing both of us and playing the diffuser unless we give him that chance. And they didn't. So, good lockout there from Elevate. Significant lead as well. That's very important. The one thing I want to emphasize on that round that ultimately did end up costing WBG it overall, because they seem to have a very good early round, very easy control over the meeting or the admin office, was they could not get rid of Geo playing the angle all the way from the bathroom. That's pretty much it. I mean, if they had dealt with that, because of course they got the early kill on the smoke with that nade from Gun Havoc. That was beautiful. Then the C4 from Pulse, Skies, below, missed entirely. But as they pushed into the A bomb site every single time, who's waiting? Geo, inside of the bathroom.
This is the kind of renaissance of Geo that we need to see as Elevate looks to continue to inch their way toward winning this map and sending us to the decider on Border, which at this point I would say that Border is probably in favor of Elevate, but I don't know by how much. Exactly.
Right.
Who knows? Because map number 1 went to WBG, and I'd say a pretty convincing manner, which...
I mean, I think it all, again, it just comes back to, and obviously this should be the case, but the mirror window gets sniped by Laxing. He's doing a very good job of opening up that specific mirror window throughout this match, and it's aided his team a lot in clearing out the admin and making that push happen. Which, by the way, this is the attack that both teams have been utilizing for this top 4 pull. Free fire comes out from Geo, not going to find anything. Dynasty going to fall off this. Very wise there. He is on 1 HP. He will likely be reset at some point by his teammates.
I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, a 3 armor on 1 HP. You get it back up to 50. That's like a whole extra bullet for most guns. There's the reset.
And you'll get him back up. No Rook armor, so they have to use the cover of that wall and the bullet pen to ensure a down but not out. As Geo concussed, sitting inside of that open area up top. Or cubicles, rather. Admin office.
Admin office, yeah.
All the different callouts that people use for it, or I've heard used before.
There are many.
It's very similar to Circle Couch on Coastline. How it has
Circle Couch? It's VIP,
like,
come on.
It has like 4 different callouts.
You know, I used to call it Circle Couch, but come on, it's VIP. It says it on the map, and that is so much easier. Oh my god.
But the couch is a circle as Skies gets a kill on Dynasty, and that's a wonderful kill from him. You can see that they have softened up Yeti as well.
Oh, the run out from front door.
Oh, Gun Havoc did manage to go out and get Skies. As England and Laxing able to get Tranks, and Yeti, Temper's going to get 1, and he's going to fall. He's on 1 HP as well. So Gun Havoc is the only one who's whole, but he doesn't last very long. His Shuttle, a nice shot on him. The ghost of Temper still haunts the halls of Consulate, and it's him versus 3. Once again, it's Temper, last man standing.
He's essentially a dead man walking, though. Like you said, on that 1 HP.
The ghost of Temper.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly.
He'll try to push up yellow stairs. He's got 2 perfectly well-healed opponents, and then England, who's sustained some damage, but just a scratch.
And what is Elevate doing? They are not giving Temper an opportunity, playing extremely safe. You see there, even Geo, after missing those shots with the pre-fire, falls off the angle. He doesn't want to risk it. Candela is coming out. Shuttle holding it from the long angle. Absolutely not an inch given here from Elevate, and now match point.
They didn't bother to peek, and that was one thing that I saw is when they lost to Timber first round, they peeked all at separate times. The third time that you just saw the previous round, what happened was that they waited in the crossfire. You saw Laxing got a couple shots off from behind the cover of that down table as Geo was able to provide some fire for another. Not exactly a crossfire in perfect sense, but from two separate angles they were attacking him, and it was unfortunate for Temper because he wasn't able to prioritize which one to go for. He ended up losing that to Geo, and this time they didn't even bother to create a crossfire. They just waited.
Yeah.
And used all those sites that had been opened up by WBG, and as he tried to retake that site, they just picked him apart, and now we find ourselves on match point, a very different story than number one.
And it's down in the basement too. This is the bomb site that Elevate, I would say, really started the complete momentum landfall for their team here as they push themselves into, again, like such a lead they have. WBG, last time they attacked this bomb site, got absolutely stalled out. They lingered outside the main garage, and they lost a couple of people trying to hunt down roamers by themselves for whatever reason. And if that happens here again, of course, we're going to see map number 3. And that, just a reminder for anyone who... oh, I like this angle that they're opening up here. This is going to be used to deny, I believe, the window if somebody's going to try and rappel into Piano from above. Elevate, again, they have been putting a big emphasis on the roam game for this map. But anyway, if this is a win here on this round or any round for the next 3, then Elevate will put it onto Border. No overtime potential for WBG, which I don't think would be a big surprise for anyone. I'm expecting that third map. I'd like to see that third map, as this has been a great match. But it comes down to if WBG are going to get stalled outside, because that's what happened last time, and we can't see it from them again. They're also not... Oh, nope, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like that they're doing this. I like that they've been able to give this opportunity for WBG to open these panels up. Last time, I think it lulled WBG into a false sense of security, and it worked very well in their favor. And by playing as far back as they did, it allowed them the opportunity to collapse when WBG pushed.
There was also the main mistake, though, last time they were attacking this way, is that they lost so much manpower elsewhere. So sure, they did get stalled outside the garage, but they didn't really effectively clear the roamers, as well as they lost a bunch of people to those roamers. A little bit of mistake there made by Gun Havoc, but that's okay. But they're not doing that this time. They're not putting a lot of emphasis on any emphasis at all on clearing the roam game. They are simply playing outside the garage. Now, arguably, this is a tremendous mistake and will be hurt by the Elevate hold. But if they do it correctly, it's possible. The main problem is going to be that mirror window all the way in Office, and England, who is rotating to the back of White. But as the smokes go down and the flashbangs out, Yeti's going to go for a very quick plant in front of the black car. Kichio rotating over to the pipes. He might get the C4 off and deny this defuse plant. It will not get Thermite. The defuse plant goes down. The kills coming out for the attackers and the defenders alike. A 4-on-3. WBG have the defuse plant. They just need to wait outside for the aggression to come from Elevate. They have everything in their favor despite except for that man advantage. Elevate starting their push. They knew they need to play this very smart.
Defender has been discovered.
The run out from Laxing, he is going to be caught off guard, but Temper not pushing the angle. Very wise there from Temper. Sky's going to get the first kill of this onto Dynasty Shuttle. Another one onto Tranks. It's all down to Temper, and the defenders defuse the diffuser, excuse me, disable the diffuser, and it will be the match point. It's all over. Elevate pushing it on to map number 3. An excellent retake there from Elevate, despite it being very wisely played from WBG. I'm surprised.
I think the biggest component there was Laxing did a fantastic job outside to distract, but more than that was the key, the key component of that was making sure that Dynasty, who had coverage over that diffuser, was eliminated and removed from the equation. And when they were able to do that, Skies was able to peek out. He got the kill onto Dynasty. Then the pressure that was left on them, at that point, Temper had to say, are we going to go for the diffuser, which is being attacked by England at that point, or do I worry about Laxing coming up on me? But while we ponder that, let's take a look at what happened just now on Consulate. Elevate taking a 5-1 victory, and we go to match number 3 as we throw to our highlights from the last map.
I mean, overall, clearly the map was better played by Elevate, and I would say that they are deserving of that win. The only round that WBG managed to take away from it was this one right here from Temper. Excellent double kill. The second one into England especially. Beautiful. But that was the only round they won. And that last round we just watched seemed like they had it in the bag, really. They got that fuse plant very aggressively into the bomb site. Whew. Temper really on fire in that map. Unfortunately, they were incapable of holding it. And I don't know, again, I'm really kind of surprised. Yeah, sure there was a distraction from Laxing, but Temper was not really, he wasn't peeking into that, you know,
right.
He wasn't applying too much emphasis on it. He was instead prioritizing the diffuser, but he just didn't deny it. He just couldn't get on that angle. I don't think he was expecting Elevate to start diffusing, or excuse me, start disabling the diffuser so early on into that retake.
No, and I noticed a couple things from WBG when they were attacking the garage and consulate was that even after they got those panels open, they would stack up 2 or 3 operators there. Yeah. It was a very heavy smoke at the plant off and get out of their push. Dynasty missed his shots on Geo, who was able to get the nitro cell over top of the car but not secure the kill on Yeti, which was okay, but they were still almost able to stop that diffuse plant. That can't happen, and I worried for WBG because they weren't able to really put pressure on the back of the site. You basically gave Elevate an opportunity to not have to look behind them at any point, and that's something you can't do if your push is all coming in one direction.
Yeah, and that I honestly, it's, you know, hate to harp on the strategy to be specific, but like while there was a lot of mistakes made in their execution, it comes down to the execution as well. I mean,
right.
Come on, we're talking about a straight garage push in 2017, guys. I mean, this is the sort of thing that was popular back in like the very first couple seasons of Pro League of Consulate, and it is so easy to counter. I get smokes and being more prominent, you know, with they're much better now. It's in theory more it works, but it doesn't though. I mean, come on, it's just pressure from one side. It was very easy for Elevate to just like, okay, well, if you're gonna just push from garage, we'll just put everyone looking at garage, wait for that push, wait for that pressure, pick off people as you do it, and even if you get that a fuse plant, you're gonna be at such a man disadvantage that it doesn't matter, and that's exactly what happened.
Right.
And it happened twice too, because I mean, the first time they didn't even get the defuse plant.
No, and it was just a situation where that could have very easily been an Elevate 5-0, and they really struggled. I found WBG really struggled to find themselves getting their footing, especially after they were knocked off so early. And like I said, I think it could have been a completely different game if they had a one-round number 2, because you would have had now 2 rounds in a row. The first round, which you stole away from Elevate, and now you have the confidence to do that, and you're going to see shakiness from your opponent. But as we head to Border, this is a map that I think is really going to benefit the way that Elevate plays.
Yeah, I completely agree. The problem that we had from WBG on that last map was a distinct lack of roam clear. And come on, Border. This is a map that can be very heavily, you can use roamers on Border just as well as you can use them on Consulate. So it's likely that we're going to see Elevate play the roam game very well, WBG possibly ignore it, like we saw just now on Consulate, which hopefully that doesn't happen. But if that does, I think that Elevate's just going to slip away with a very early lead, and maybe Temper will get a couple rounds by himself, but that's not going to be enough to win overall. And actually, nag on that, because Temper was not given that opportunity to get any more clutches after his first one. Elevate was like, no.
Yeah, they deprived him of it.
I mean, they were kind of half. I mean, Skies did get a little too aggressive on Temper when he was inside of Printer, but right after that, they're like completely shut down. We're not rushing him. We're just playing the objective. Wait. Foot off the gas, and they managed to lock it out. And that was good changes by Elevate. Glad they made that decision. So it seems like Elevate has really like locked it down in this match.
Right. And when we look to Border now, that ability to not hunt down the roamers, like you said, not only does it allow you to play a roam game similar to Consulate, but how many sites do we see on Border where the roam game will comprise the majority of your defense as well? And that's an issue, especially with the way that we have seen Elevate play the levels so well, playing above and below.
Yeah, so on Border, Customs is going to be played from above. Ventilation, usually pretty significant emphasis is placed on the top floor. And when it comes to Armory, even then, we usually don't see 3 roamers, 2 anchors, usually 3 anchors, 2 roamers, but we will see some pressure put downstairs. So the roam game is very much apparent on Border, same as Consulate. And again, that's the problem with Well, that's the problem for WBG to face here in this match, and I think that they definitely have the potential to make that change, and I hope they do, because I feel like they were really ignoring, again, just a primary function of playing on Consulate is dealing with and having roamers. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. As we load into the match, it is again going to be Border as our third map of this series. World Best Gaming won on the first map, that was Chalet, in spectacular fashion, I have to say. And then Consulate Elevate took that in much more definitive fashion in that 5-1.
Absolutely. You can't, it's very difficult for you to look at a 5-1 and say that that was a closely fought contest unless every single one of those rounds goes as close as possible. But Border is going to be the site of our tiebreaker. Implications are the loser has to potentially contend with losing their spot in Pro League, and the winner will go on to face Most Wanted for second and third and figure out what team will go to playoffs.
Losing their spot in Pro League for this season. Of course, they're going to be given the opportunity to play next season, but we'll be done for the regular.
Oh, right,
yes.
Yeah. No, I meant, sorry. I meant that you, once the season is done,
Yeah.
you potentially have to play for your spot against the top 2 teams in Challenger League, and that's something that no team wants to find themselves doing, especially WBG, who just found their way in here, as we said earlier on in the broadcast.
Yep. But first round, already a bit of a surprise. We're going for the ventilation room rather than the top floor. So, interesting little change from Elevate. One thing I will say that I'm glad it's not a teller's bathroom defense. We're not trying to lose the first round for no apparent reason, and I can appreciate that. Really appreciate that.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
And as you can see here, lots of emphasis placed on the top floor from Elevate. They are going to be putting 2 players, it seems, Laxing and Shuttle, roaming in the Armory and the Archers.
Now Skies will run off to do his thing as well.
Oh,
and Gun Havoc somehow manages to sneak a kill on Shuttle while Laxing was posted up in that office, and now he's going to look to rotate too as he gets spotted, and a nice grenade primed by Gun Havoc, but it doesn't look like it's going to be able to get him. It's going to take a chunk of his health, and now Laxing is in deep trouble too.
Some excellent play here from Gun Havoc just at the start of this round. Doing more than 100 damage to 2 separate players and eliminating one of them. That's really what you want to have in the first 40 seconds. Now, World Best Gaming, they have established complete control over this top floor. They're going to start opening up the wall into archives from the offices. And then the drop-downs will follow shortly thereafter, as well as Tranks is likely to start to push into Armory and open up plenty of holes to establish vertical dominance and give more avenues for WBG to utilize, leading into the last legs of this round.
England playing as Ella is a surprise. That's not something that we've seen too many times, if at all, right now.
It's interesting how little, or how less than normal we've been seeing Ella played in general throughout today. She's still been played most often, but less prominent than yesterday, I would argue.
Absolutely. Less prominent than the 80-some-odd% that we've seen her used in Regions 2, if you've been following the operator defense pick rate stats that we've been running up. Now, Yeti, of course, doesn't do a ton of damage with that gun. Laxing is going to be able to avenge Shuttle, who he let perish earlier on in the round by picking away at Yeti. And now Skies is just a man on the run, as they're going to try to find him and hunt him down, as he and Laxing sits just inside of Customs. Gun Havoc still from above, as we are just under a minute left in round number 1. A strong start from WBG, but Elevate seems to have found their footing, and it is a much even contest, or a much more even contest. Dynasty will soften up that shot on the wall after getting hit with the concussion mine, and the last exothermic charge is going to go down. Laxing far off site. No risk there of a bandit charge whatsoever. And WBG just appears to be stalled out. England's going to get some shots off on Tranks, and he's going to exhaust his clip as Laxing gets one onto Gun Havoc. Give the advantage in favor of Elevate. Temper will drop and just gets obliterated by England. Now 4v2 as Geo is able to pick up one on Tranks. 4v1 as Laxing cleans up Dynasty, and what a showing from Elevate. After they lost 1, they take round number 1 by putting 5 operator kills in a row together.
Absolutely dominant round there for Elevate, despite losing that top 4 control very early on into the round. We really just didn't need it. It was a simple thing to deny the vertical dominance by pushing further back into the site And because World Best Gaming didn't really put enough emphasis on it, it wasn't able to be utilized to its fullest. And when they pushed into the site itself, it was pretty easy for Skies to, or excuse me, for Elevate as a whole to simply just retake in through the archives.
After such a start that looked so good for World Best Gaming as well, I was astonished with how quickly. I'm a little disappointed as well that they weren't able to capitalize on it. The fact that the frag didn't go far enough to get Laxing, I think, was a crucial issue for them as well. Because if they had been able to pick off Laxing, then you get both the roamers down, other than Skies, who now has to play a bit more tight. And look at that, Laxing was able to pick up 3 if they had been able to prioritize him.
I mean, you can put it on the nade. You can also put it on the fact that, yeah, well, okay, Gun Havoc got a great kill through the wall onto Shuttle. Impressive. But he kind of just completely overlooked Laxing. Yes, he dropped down from that shelf. So there were 2 opportunities missed there from Gun Havoc. And of course, it's not really all on him. But that could have made their life, well, it would have certainly made their life much easier. The numbers don't lie. Those 3 kills did, whoa, this is interesting. Frank's going to be playing on a mirror window in the main hallway. As soon as Elevate establishes control over the top of East Stairs, he's going to die or have to fall off that position. You can see, though, Temper is the reason they're playing this. Temper's going to be playing very aggressively over by office desks, looking to deny that top floor East Stairs control, as well as Gun Havoc inside the East Stairs itself with those Ela charges. He's actually going to be a very good choice of operator to hold this. I like what I see here from WBG. This is going to stall out the attack a lot. As you can see, it's already being effective against Skies, who is trying to get aggressive on to the Ela, but unsuccessful due to those traps.
This is one of those strategies where when it falls apart, it really falls apart.
That is
because
true.
you lose control of so many avenues through border that when this ends, you're in trouble. And you can just see there, Gun Havoc lost that ADS on the wall as Skies has sustained some damage, and they're still waiting to try to flush him out. Now Skies almost loses his life. He's going to try to flash Gun Havoc. Geo's going to get first kill on Yeti. Skies tries to rush in. Gun goes down, but Geo gets kill number 2 before Temper refrags. So a frenzy as it is a 3v3. Absolute calamity right now for them, as WBG still holding on. They have not completely lost control as well of that hallway, which is so important for this strategy to work. But as you take a look at the time, we are only halfway through the round.
And so while the attack will stall out, they still have the ability to recover from it. They haven't wasted so much time that this is going to be bad. Laxing also, again, got to give props to Laxing. Coming off of Blackbeard onto Twitch, but he has been amazing on Twitch. He always gets that. It seems like he always gets the mirror window every single time. And we've seen a lot of Twitches fail to do this in the past. And it's really cool to see Laxing, no matter what job you put him on, he's always just fulfilling his role. He will be playing off this broken mirror window, looking for an angle onto the Bandit, who is playing very safe. That's smart by Tranks. He knows he's the only one with Dynasty, playing inside a bunker to hold out this A push. As it starts to come, England going to open up that A wall. The nades coming out to try and snag Tranks. That will be unsuccessful. A couple damage being done there, but the second one downs Dynasty. That's very important. As Laxing pushes in, it's going to be Tranks now to challenge this. He's going to miss the initial shots, but so will Laxing, but no! The follow-up from Laxing will get 2 kills, taking out Tranks and Dynasty both, and now it's all down to Temper. We've seen it from him before. Coming from behind, Shuttle's going to say, no sir, no thank you, don't want any of that. You're off the board. And it's going to be Elevate, putting themselves in a 2-round lead on this 3rd map. Excellent execution there, good rotation, seeing that there's a lot of pressure placed on the office side of things, the East Stairs, and saying, all right, we'll go over there. We'll just go over to the A wall. We'll go over to CCTV instead. As soon as we disable the East Stairs, push into that hallway, get rid of the mirror window player in the hallway, denying that CCTV push. And then it was a pretty simple take from there. The nade also, I didn't see who that was, but whoever that was, that nade onto the
buck of Shuttle.
Was that the buck Shuttle? Thank you very much. The nade from Shuttle onto the Mira inside of the bunker was oh so crucial. Denying the crossfire between Tranks and the Mira was paramount to that push.
And you had Laxing just able to work his way in and to take Tranks. As Tranks tried to hug that bomb for cover, Elevate now finds themselves up 2-0. And I liked, like you said, the rotation. They realized that they weren't going to contest that site. Office was a write-off, so let's stack up to Armory. Dynasty was in tough shape. They still had those frags available to them, and look at Laxing. He has had such a tremendous performance so far today. And right now 5-0-0. Round number 3, 5 kills. No slouch.
I already talked about it, but I want to just re-emphasize.
We can talk about it again.
Yeah, we can talk about it again. I just want to re-emphasize the great Twitch play from Laxing, because, again, it's coming off of a role that is conceivably to some people, like playing Blackbeard, that's the role you put your least efficient player on or something like that. And Laxing performed amazingly on that role. Better than most, I would argue. And then taking him off of that, putting him onto Twitch now, and he's doing the same thing again, really using his drones properly. I mean, we haven't seen him make any serious Twitch drone mistakes yet in this setup. Now he's gonna go out from Gun Havoc and open up that castle barricade. He's gonna get a follow-up kill right after onto England. Every time Gun Havoc gets on this balcony, he gets a kill. Great play for Gun Havoc there, and unfortunately, Trank's not gonna be so lucky as Laxing takes him out inside the office. Temper at the top of these east stairs. Laxing gonna be challenging. I believe the Claymore may not. It didn't go down. Wait, it didn't go down, and because of that, Habana will be flanked by Laxing. An excellent second frag there as he falls down, taking out Temper. The Candelas, though, coming down into the B bomb site. The run out from Sky is going to get 2 outside on the north balcony, and inside B itself, Dynasty, the last attacker alive, trying to get the defuse plant, but no, the collapse from Shuttle, and Elevate as a whole will deny this B take outright. A nice attempt from World Best Gaming, but not enough. Elevate now 3-0 lead, seeming very dominant on border.
WBG just falling apart at the seams right now, and it looks like Elevate is finally, they've remembered what made them such a frightening team to compete against last season, and now what is really putting them up over the last 8 rounds, WBG has been able to string together 1 round win. That's it. And sorry, 9 rounds rather, because the last 8 have been won consecutively by Elevate. So they haven't lost a round in 8 tries.
Yeah, Elevate really saying definitively, we are Elevate, and we will not be dissuaded from this matchup by losing the first map. Because again, clearly WBG really had a grasp on Chalet. I think that's probably, I would say that's their map. I'm pretty sure that is just WBG's map, ladies and gentlemen. Moving forward, I doubt they're going to get much chance to play it in the Pro League if they continue on to the next season, or if they manage to come back in the later ends of this map and get that second map win and get themselves into the next bracket.
And then one thing to really touch upon too is you see that almost every team excels better in their second season in Pro League. Take a look at Infamy, take a look at Most Wanted. Yeah. If WBG, let's say the WBG loses here, they go to relegations, but they defend their spot, I'm going to be expecting a much improved WBG next time around. And that's something that happens is because of how short these seasons are in the turnaround. Yeah. It was only a couple months ago that WBG earned their spot in Pro League, and with the meta shift, it's very difficult for you to be able to acclimate to the challenges that you have to face with much stiffer competition. You have to unlearn the bad habits that you picked up in Ranked, in Challenger League, and in previous seasons, and now you have to adapt to the way that the other teams play, and that is a tall task to do, while also learning the maps that you should and shouldn't be playing, and the way you should and shouldn't be playing on those maps.
One thing I'd like to emphasize here is how safe Dynasty is playing to protect his mirror window. He is holding a hard angle onto that A-wall door because he is waiting for Laxing's drone. You can see him. Look, he's waiting for it. He's like, oh, it's coming. And there it is. Dynasty finally locking down Laxing's drone. Here comes the follow-up, though. Will he get the second? No! Another successful opening of the mirror window. Good job, Laxing. And a nice attempt from Dynasty, though. And
smart for him to stack those up as well. He had one right there and then threw the other, and they immediately came in the exact same direction because I have a feeling he knew that there was going to be some focus on taking those drones out.
Yeah, so he didn't... That's something that's a trick that a lot of people actually just don't use straight up on Twitch, is having both of your drones spawned already, ready to go and push in at the same exact time, basically. And that is I think I've only ever seen Laxing do that. That's definitely going to be new meta for every Twitch moving forward. I guarantee you, when someone's like, yeah, we need to get this mirror window open up, we're going to have 2 Twitch drones stacked outside of said mirror window before he even tries with the first. But that said, mirror window opened up. A-wall also opened up. That's panel number 2. Yeti gonna barely stay alive there. Laxing unfortunately missing the shot. Here come the smokes and the Candela's Kid Geo going for the defuse plant right in the middle of said smokes. And the C4 from below, Dynasty getting rid of that defuse planter. As WBG also propped themselves up to push into this cafeteria. The Pulse sees Shuttle through the wall and will hit the shot. Excellent kill there onto Shuttle. Another from Gun Havoc onto England elsewhere. And it looks like this might be round number 1 for WBG. Yeti getting another kill onto Skies. It's all Laxing inside of Small Office as he takes out Dynasty. He has 2 more to find. Gun Havoc taking a couple shots there, but finally finishing off Laxing as he pushes into the bomb site. A good hold there from WBG. And I really love what they did on the roam game.
World Best Gaming finally finding a way to stop the bleeding that has been going on since round number 1 of Consulate.
So essential.
And now they've been able to get a better grasp of what they're dealing with. But now you're going to move Elevate back to defense, where they have looked unstoppable for almost the last 10 rounds. Their attacks have been a bit shakier, but their defenses have looked rock solid. And that's an issue, because even though Elevate is still winning on both attack and defense, it's the defense that I fear more. You are still in a position where you are down 3-1, and we are going to see a customs hold as Laxing leads the way for his team. And the key for me, England cannot afford to die early on in the round if they want to see some longevity out of this site.
Specifically to Gun Havoc too.
Exactly.
He's been getting a lot of really good frags. Obviously he's leading the way for his team as well with 5 kills, as opposed to the rest of his team's 1. So really 2 people standing up here, Laxing and Gun. So, this strat, very interesting strategy that has become more popular as of late.
5 seconds remaining.
Is going to be implemented here by Elevate. They're going to be prioritizing control over the top floor, that's CCTV. As long as they can maintain control over CCTV, they can maintain control over both the bomb sites, open up each of these drop downs, use that mirror window to keep control of CCTV, as well as a mirror window inside of Armory to keep control of the west balcony outside of CCTV so that the CCTV players do not get overly pressured. They're also opening up plenty of holes above the bomb sites to deny any immediate defuse plant rushes from WBG. So, I have actually, as of yet, to see a proper, thought-out strategy to perfectly attack this bomb site, but I have a hunch here, ladies and gentlemen, that the primary way that WBG is going to be attacking this is taking care of this mirror window Shuttle he's utilizing, and then pushing in through the west balcony into Armory. Once they have Armory control, they can start pressuring CCTV. Once they have CCTV control, they can start pressuring the bomb site. We'll see how that works out for them, though, as they start to linger outside of both bunker, or excuse me, box, not bunker, and the balcony of CCTV. Most of the attackers downstairs looking to pressure in through that box that I think they have just opened.
Gun Havoc was able to get a grenade off, and we don't see the patented Gun Havoc combo that we've seen so far on Border, which is that he breaks a panel, gets a kill, tosses the grenade. So far, no success there as we narrow in on that halfway mark of round number 5. Implications here are if Elevate wins this round, we go to match point, and we're just waiting for WBG, which appears to actually be changing its strategy around now, as Gun and Yeti will get an escort, or rather Yeti will get an escort from Gun. And a bit more of a direct hold now as they're going to take the stairs and find their way down towards the main lobby. You can see Laxing is primed and ready. That, of course, Castle Barricade is going to pause Gun Havoc unless he still has a frag grenade at his disposal to use it. You can hear he picks away at the camera, and now they'll drone him out.
No.
I don't know if Trank saw him, but Gun Havoc does and immediately retreats. A smart idea when squaring off against somebody who is playing as well as Laxing is right now. And what a shot from Gun Havoc! A refrag from Skies as Yeti goes down, but you've lost that formidable fragging power that you had. And now Shuttle's going to try to get back on site and watch into box, but Gun Havoc looking the wrong way. The UMP tears through him. And Elevate now holds an advantage as Tranks is going to pressure him, but Shuttle's going to go for the kill, doesn't land any of his shots. You see Tranks doesn't miss. Skies gets 2! Oh my goodness on Temper and Dynasty as Tranks manages to pick off Shuttle. It is 1v3, and it's going to be Geo from above pushing us to match point as Tranks, the last member of World Best to fall, and Elevate 1 round away from meeting Most Wanted for a very important rematch.
Still every chance in the world, though, that WBG can get this comeback and push it to that overtime. However, 3 rounds in a row, that's a tall order, ladies and gentlemen, and it doesn't seem like Elevate is going to let them fulfill it. As they move on to the attack, it is going to be a ventilation room workshop defense from WBG. No mirror windows this time for Laxing to open up, but are they going to be able to deal with the pressure coming from wherever Elevate chooses to go? And this is the big thing, is that Elevate can actually kind of just maneuver however they wish in this instance. They could be coming from outside the B bomb site, just kind of walk in through the front door. They could just be coming into the top floor, as is pretty typical. Or they could just come in through office, establish control over archives, deny that drop down control to the defenders, open up the teller's wall and then the bathroom wall and push into the A-bomb side. There's so many choices here for Elevators. I believe this is the first time, I want to say, that WBG has been defending anything but Armory.
A risky gamble, but they have no choice.
Yep. They have a pretty decent setup here for this defense, and it's going to be prioritizing control over the top floor, as you can see with a lot of the holes that have been opened up, which I think is it's an interesting thing to place your stock in when you're not holding, when you're dealing with a ventilation room defense. Holding top floor is much more sensible when it comes to CCTV, specifically when you're holding customs, because that's a lot harder to take if set up properly. But the attackers are going to have a lot of room to breathe. Like specifically, we already see Shuttle taking these AC stairs. That's a big location to have early on in this round. It'll give them just a point to pivot off of when confronting the rest of the defenders as they roam upstairs. They are going to be dealing with Gun Havoc inside of CCTV, so that will be a hurdle to jump over.
As Geo literally jumps over top of the stairs. Very good timing.
Perfect. Totally predicted that.
And I like that Laxing's drone was able to evade those shots earlier on. It's just like they've been struggling so hard to take that Twitch drone out and just have had such difficulty so far, and it's been causing major headaches for WBG.
And I think that's probably one of the big reasons that they've been losing that top floor, which is now the fact that they're going on to ventilation. That's going to actually, I think it'll help them. This mix-up is probably good. Skies misses a couple shots onto Yeti. A nice opportunity. Very tight angle to hit the shots, though. Can't really hate him for missing that. The pressure's going to start coming onto the the roamers upstairs in Armory. That's going to be Temper, I believe, as Laxing starts to open up that wall. It's also going to be, I believe that's Dynasty right next to him. These two trying to duo hold this Armory. I think Gun Havoc also in CCTV. But there's only a minute left here. Elevate starting to get stalled out a little bit, and Gun Havoc starting to apply some pressure to this main hallway. If he does this at the right time, if he pushes into the attackers at the right time, he can catch a lot of Elevate off guard. It seems that their primary goal here is simply to control archives and office, then open up the... They don't have... Oh, no, they do. Excuse me. Open up the bathroom, which is what they're doing right now, and then it will be a simple push into A.
45 seconds in what could be the penultimate round of this matchup between two teams that seemed a lot more even on round number 1, but so far has been all Elevate. It's up to WBG to claw back and prove their worth. Skies is going to be able to get a kill on Tranks. That's leadoff as Geo adds to that death toll by taking Dynasty down. 5v3 in favor of Elevate, but Gun Havoc's going to come down for the rotate. He's going to take Geo down just inside a bathroom, and he still has company with England in there as well. An Mine is going to go down, and England is going to be hard-pressed to get out and work through that smoke with just 15 seconds to go, and he holds on to that diffuser. He sees Yeti, but enshrouded in smoke, Yeti goes down to the Thermite of England. He's going to be able to push in now, and they're going to start to get that diffuse off as Gun Havoc rotates in, but nobody's there. Laxing takes out Temper. He sees England and gets him down, and he's going to run out of time, and the defenders win. WBG hangs on because of Gun Havoc's clutch kill. Nobody there to pick up the diffuser, and we are still going here on Border.
A huge mistake there by Elevate. They had that round, and they just let it slip away by not having the diffuser in hand, able to finish it out and deny the timeout of that round. It's honestly heartbreaking to see mistakes like that happen at this level of play, and it seems like that's honestly a lot of the time that's the only reason that Elevate even loses a lot of rounds. It's just very basic things like that, because everywhere else in every other category, Elevate is absolutely decimating. They're doing great right now. They just didn't have the diffuser in hand. They had control over the bomb site, no diffuser. That's it. That's all it was. And Gun Havoc playing very smart, knowing that his only real opportunity was not, in fact, by the way, 8 kills. Great job, Gun Havoc.
Single-handedly carrying that team. Right?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Completely agree. But yeah, so Gun Havoc being very smart there, knowing that, okay, I'm not going to take on the entire Elevate team. So I'll get as many kills as I can, and I'll skirt around the attack, and I will hope and pray that they do not have the diffuser in hand. In this instance, he was right on the money.
10 seconds left.
Now an Elevate defense of the top floor. They've been pretty successful here so far.
Which I would say, I touched on this before, I think Elevate has looked better on defense than they have on attack thus far. And now that is still problematic because WBG is on the razor's edge. Match point remains.
They have to win 2 rounds in a row to get themselves out of this pit. It's possible. It's much less daunting than 3 rounds in a row, which is what we were just at 5 seconds ago. But it's still a large order to fill.
In the last 11 rounds, WBG has only been able to win 2. They're going to have to double that without losing a single one, or else they potentially fight for their lives in relegation. So a pretty big and daunting task ahead of them, and it's going to need all of their composure. And more importantly, it's going to need more than just Gun Havoc to really carry the weight at the moment. Every single member of WBG capable of grabbing the frags, and Skies is going to make a very big mistake, and Gun Havoc isn't going to go for it. Just tosses the grenade in there and finishes him off.
Smart play.
Very smart play, doesn't expose himself, but is able to give an advantage by 1 to his team.
That spray through the wall was almost exactly on Gio's head. He almost got a second frag there, unbeknownst to himself. Laxton going to get the refrag, though, onto Trenks. That is a very important kill. It's going to be slowing down this attack quite a lot. It's also a soft destructor off the board, the only soft destructor for the attacking team. They have 2 hard destructors in Temper and Dynasty, that Thermite Habana, and they're going to be looking to open up that A wall at some point. They have stalled out significantly, though. The reason that they've stalled out is because of losing that soft destructor below. His primary goal was to open up that mirror window, which we have just seen Yeti do, and disable the batteries, which he did not in fact do, which means that despite opening the mirror window, they still cannot open up the A wall itself. So this attack will continue to stall out as Gun Havoc uses his last nade to get those batteries. He's pulling a lot of weight for his team.
And he's going to get them both. Very successful as we just reach the 1-minute mark in round lucky number 7.
Attackers have recovered.
And Elevate is going to try to be as steadfast as possible as WBG closes in on the site. Candelas will go off. You can see that the Thermite of Dynasty will push in. The diffuser will go down in that doorway. He's going to take some damage, and a Nitro Cell is going to go out, not get it. And they managed to get that diffuser down amidst the chaos. Shuttle pushes up, and what a kill on Dynasty. He sees the diffuser. Is he going to try to long arm it? It looked like he was going to, but isn't going to risk it just yet. There he goes, but picked off. Gun Havoc, a second frag so far. And that's Shuttle and Skies down for him, as now they're going to wait. Laxing runs right into the crosshair of Temper, and Yeti gets one on Gio. It's only England left fighting through the smoke, but England persists, gets Yeti. He's working away on the diffuser.
No.
Do they not know that he's getting it? Out of nowhere, it looks like England is going to be able to steal the round for Elevate. Oh my goodness. And they missed it. WBG unaware, and England clutches it for his team, and Elevate takes it 5-2 in what I would say is an extremely defeating defeat if you are World Best Gaming.
Oh no. Oh, that hurts. That was painful, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know about for you guys, but that was painful for me to watch. Oh boy. A lot of excellent play from World Best Gaming going into that round, trying so hard to push themselves into that overtime, and then overlooking the defuse plan. Just playing way too passive. The last player on Elevate able to clutch that out, get the defuse. There was no one in a position to stop him. Elevate 2-1 over top World Best Gaming. And I think that's the result that we expected, but let's take a look at some of the highlights from that match. It was a really good one.
There are no words.
There are
no words.
Yeah.
I'm just absolutely astonished at what we just saw. Like, it was WBG was just an animal that round. The entire team coming together to do this. It was a 3v1, and yet They just let England. I don't I don't know.
Their execution was perfect. It was perfect. They had everything accounted for. An amazing attack. There were a couple of mistakes made by Elevate to make it a lot easier. And then just, oh no, we're not watching the diffuser fully. And you know, a lot of the people were going to be like, oh, well, Gun Havoc, he was the one, that was his job, Gun Havoc's job. But if it weren't for Gun Havoc, they wouldn't even been in that round.
They weren't even going to come close.
That whole map, and then that last round at the end, if it was Gun Havoc. Gun Havoc was pretty much single-handedly pushing that forward. And I was actually going to touch on this earlier when we were talking about it. It was like, well, the cool thing about Gun Havoc doing so much for his team means that as soon as the other guys start to wake up, which was that round.
Happened. It happened.
That round.
It was happening.
We were getting overtime. I guarantee you we would have had overtime.
Oh, absolutely.
If they had won that round, they would have won the next one, overtime, and then it would have been a completely different map. They were starting to wake up, and it was just a small oversight that cost them the map as a whole in the series as well. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And let's take a look at the bracket for this particular group. It's going to be Group B, ladies and gentlemen, that we just watched. Rogue 2-0 over Most Wanted. Pretty definitive, although it was a good match. Most Wanted put up a
Very close
fight.
matchup.
Yeah. Much more closer, though, World Best Gaming versus Elevate, the 2-1 that you all just witnessed. Elevate did manage to win, of course, as you just saw, and they put themselves into that Deciders match against Most Wanted. That is going to be...
How good is that rematch going to be? Oh, my gosh.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be as electric as you can get. It might be the original Most Wanted versus Elevate was probably one of the best Pro League matches I've ever seen. And speaking of Electric Boogaloo #2, Most Wanted versus Elevate, I get ready for that matchup because it's going to be insanity. As insane as that last round that we just saw between World Best Gaming. And I don't know what it is with Elevate, but they really bring the fire every single time they play and provide the best performance for all of you.
So that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen, but let's take a look at the schedule for the Super Week overall, because there are many more days in this week for you guys to see. Latin America is going to be played tomorrow, be casted by myself and Interrobang, and then we have another day of Latin America right after. And then the next day, Europe, and after that, more Europe. Still more matches in this Super Week. We are done for North America, though, for this week at least.
And it's Latin America is now going to have to provide that they can put on as good of a show as we've seen from the 2 days of North America, and then EU as well to answer the call. From the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th, Emzo will be making his debut with Bloodbath, and Kix and I will sign off tomorrow. So what an unbelievable showing, and we still have 4 more days to go of matches. So if you are a fan of Pro League, there's no shortage coming up. On behalf of ESL, and on behalf of our matches today, my name is Parker Interrobang Mackay. Michael Kickstar Stockley, join me, and we will be back tomorrow for Playday #3 of Latin America. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you in under 24 hours.
Bye.
Have a great night.